so we thought. Suddenly lost control, now you're caught. What is going on? Well, can't you see? You're under the control of Riri. The friendly neighborhood ghost is here to check in on all the lovely souls under her possession, hoping to give herself a taste of what it's like to be not as clumsy. The ghosty girl who goes to game. What she doing, what she playing? Everybody played cool, it's the coolest of the ghouls. Strong will end, a lot of ambition. Can't see through them like apparitions. Determined to bring only the best. Get in the way, be her guest. Riri, the ghosty girl, steals your body, steals the show. Klutzy and a little forgetful, but meeting her is unforgettable. She's a scream queen that can scare the soul, but guides all wandering souls back home. Give your mind, body, all the more to Riri, the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri, the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri, the ghosty girl. Just a normal day or so we thought. Suddenly lost control, now you're caught. What is going on? Well, can't you see? You're under the control of Riri. The friendly neighborhood ghost is here to check in on all the lovely souls under her possession, hoping to give herself a taste of what it's like to be not as clumsy. The ghosty girl who goes to game. What she doing, what she playing? Everybody played cool, it's the coolest of the ghouls. Strong will end, a lot of ambition. Can't see through them like apparitions. Determined to bring only the best. Get in the way, be her guest. Riri, the ghosty girl, steals your body, steals the show. Klutzy and a little forgetful, but meeting her is unforgettable. She's a scream queen that can scare the soul, but guides all wandering souls back home. Give your mind, body, all the more to Riri, the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri, the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri, the ghosty girl. Just a normal day or so we thought. Suddenly lost control, now you're caught. What is going on? Well, can't you see? You're under the control of Riri. The friendly neighborhood ghost is here to check in on all the lovely souls under her possession, hoping to give herself a taste of what it's like to be not as clumsy. The ghosty girl who goes to game. What she doing, what she playing? Everybody played cool, it's the coolest of the ghouls. Strong will end, a lot of ambition. Can't see through them like apparitions. Determined to bring only the best. Get in the way, be her guest. Riri, the ghosty girl, steals your body, steals the show. Klutzy and a little forgetful, but meeting her is unforgettable. She's a scream queen that can scare the soul, but guides all wandering souls back home. Give your mind, body, all the more to Riri, the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri, the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri, the ghosty girl. Just a normal day or so we thought. Suddenly lost control, now you're caught. What is going on? Well, can't you see? You're under the control of Riri. The friendly neighborhood ghost is here to check in on all the lovely souls under her possession, hoping to give herself a taste of what it's like to be not as clumsy. The ghosty girl who goes to game. What she doing, what she playing? Everybody played cool, it's the coolest of the ghouls. ghouls. Strong will and a lot of ambition, can't see through them like apparitions. Determined to bring only the best, get in the way, be her guest. Riri the ghosty girl steals your body, steals the show. Klutzy and a little forgetful, but meeting her is unforgettable. She's a scream queen that can scare the soul, but guides all wandering souls back home. Give your mind, body, all and more to Riri the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri the ghosty girl. Just a normal day or so we thought. Suddenly lost control, now you're caught. What is going on? Well, can't you see? You're under the control of Riri. The friendly neighborhood ghost is here to check in on all the lovely souls under her possession, hoping to give herself a taste of what it's like to be not as clumsy. The ghosty girl who goes to game, what she doing, what she playing. Everybody played cool, it's the coolest of the ghouls. Strong will and a lot of ambition, can't see through them like apparitions. Determined to bring only the best, get in the way, be her guest. Riri the ghosty girl steals your body, steals the show. Klutzy and a little forgetful, but meeting her is unforgettable. She's a scream queen that can scare the soul, but guides all wandering souls back home. Give your mind, body, all and more to Riri the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri the ghosty girl. Just a normal day or so we thought. Suddenly lost control, now you're caught. What is going on? Well, can't you see? You're under the control of Riri. The friendly neighborhood ghost is here to check in on all the lovely souls under her possession, hoping to give herself a taste of what it's like to be not as clumsy. The ghosty girl who goes to game, what she doing, what she playing. Everybody played cool, it's the coolest of the ghouls. Strong will and a lot of ambition, can't see through them like apparitions. Determined to bring only the best, get in the way, be her guest. Riri the ghosty girl steals your body, steals the show. Klutzy and a little forgetful, but meeting her is unforgettable. She's a scream queen that can scare the soul, but guides all wandering souls back home. Give your mind, body, all and more to Riri the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri the ghosty girl. Just a normal day or so we thought. Suddenly lost control, now you're caught. What is going on? Well, can't you see? You're under the control of Riri. The friendly neighborhood ghost is here to check in on all the lovely souls under her possession, hoping to give herself a taste of what it's like to be not as clumsy. The ghosty girl who goes to game, what she doing, what she playing. Everybody played cool, it's the coolest of the ghouls. Strong will and a lot of ambition, can't see through them like apparitions. Determined to bring only the best, get in the way, be her guest. Riri the ghosty girl steals your body, steals the show. Klutzy and a little forgetful, but meeting her is unforgettable. She's a scream queen that can scare the soul, but guides all wandering souls back home. Give your mind, body, all and more to Riri the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri the ghosty I said it's Riri, the ghosty girl. Just a normal day or so we thought. Suddenly lost control, now you're caught. What is going on? Well, can't you see? You're under the control of Riri. The friendly neighborhood ghost is here to check in on all the lovely souls under her possession, hoping to give herself a taste of what it's like to be not as clumsy. The ghosty girl who goes to game. What she doing, what she playing. Everybody playing cool, it's the coolest of the ghouls. Strong will end, a lot of ambition. Can't see through them like apparitions. Determined to bring only the best. Get in the way, be her guest. Riri, the ghosty girl, steals your body, steals the show. Klutzy and a little forgetful, but meeting her is unforgettable. She's a scream queen that can scare the soul, but guides all wandering souls back home. Give your mind, body, all and more to Riri, the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri, the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri, the ghosty girl. Just a normal day or so we thought. Suddenly lost control, now you're caught. What is going on? Well, can't you see? You're under the control of Riri. The friendly neighborhood ghost is here to check in on all the souls under her possession.
Hello, ghosties! Hello. Thank you for being the first soul now. Wah! Hello, Evil. Thank you so much for the 35 months. Oh, Cardi D, welcome back home. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hello, everybody. How are you? It's a pro gamer, you know? I try. Thanks. If by pro gamer you mean the person that used her tickets to buy 3 copies of Nights as an MLB her, that's me. Did someone ban that spam chat? Omar list. But also hi hi Dan, hi Prince. How are you guys? Hello, hello. I'm excited to spend this hump day with you. Sorry, I'm just getting some lotion because my hands are dry as fuck. What was I gonna tell you? I forget. How are you guys doing today? I'm okay. I've been better. I've been worse. You know? It's one of those. Matt, thank you so much for the visa for 5 months. Okay, Didi, welcome back home. Thank you. Thanks for the support today, besties. What was I trying to say? Before gore. But yeah, basically, what the frick? Hold on. There we go. There we go. Now we're cooking with kitchen in the fire. Wait. Cooking with fire in the kitchen. Yeah. I'm cooking with kitchen in the fire. Hi, Reaver. How are you? I know, right? Ceriball didn't catch it. That's crazy. But yeah, happy hump day, guys. Do I have anything of interest to share with you? That is such a good question. I feel like I have nothing. I know we just talked last night, so I'm trying to think. And my thinking is telling me that I have nothing to share with you. You're in California for vacation? Sick! You're already gone? I hope you have an amazing time, Dan. And I hope it's a very fulfilling time. Hi, Ben. How are you? Let's see. Oh, I do have something interesting I can tell you. I think I mentioned a little bit. Of this really, really good bakery I tried when I was in Dallas. My friend told me to go to. Because it picks. Oh, yeah, I barely got even to say hi in Discord. It's been kind of a busy day. Tuesdays and Wednesdays are always rough for me because I'm in the office. Those are my mandatory days, and then my other day rotates. And depending on what seat I'm in and how busy the day is, I can check my phone like varying levels. So today was one of those days where I got no phone time, really. My lunch was used to pick up some meds from a pharmacy. So my dermatologist suggested I try this because I got diagnosed with rosacea. And she said that I can try this thing that is supposed to help. It's like a cream or something. And I'm supposed to put it on my face. And I think it just treats the redness, but like it doesn't help stop it from showing up. It just like helps in the moment that it's on your skin or something. I don't know. I have to read about it. I went ahead and got it. But it's a whole ass thing. Anyway. Yeah, fun fact. I just thought I blushed really easily and had rosy cheeks, and it just sometimes would happen for no reason, and sensitive skin, but turns out that it's like rosacea. Who knew? Yeah, I'm really rosy cheeked, like always. I've always been like a rosy cheeked person. Like I blush. I'm always blushy. Yeah. Also, hi Frank. But yeah, long story short. So in Dallas, when I was in Dallas, I tried this bakery there that my friend recommended. And they have the most beautiful tarts and cheesecakes. So they're Basque cheesecakes, which I've actually I don't think I've had one before. I think maybe I've had like just a plain Basque cheesecake, but it's been a while. And I know they kind of started getting like big on the internet. I don't know, like a year or two ago, everyone was freaking out over Basque cheesecakes, and I was like, guys, it's not that big of a deal. However, I went to this fancy bakery, and I need to post a picture for you guys of like their display case, because oh my god, they're so beautiful. And they have these Basque cheesecakes, which basically it's a cheesecake that, and so typically a regular like New York style cheesecake, it has that graham cracker crust, and you bake it in the oven in a water bath, and the water bath helps it more evenly cook. Hey Winter Charm, how are you? Versus the Basque cheesecake, you actually cook it at a higher temperature, so it like cooks more quickly instead of like low and slower, I guess. I don't know, I haven't tried to make one yet, but I'm going to tomorrow. Because so I had these fancy cheesecakes and tarts, and usually I'm more impressed by a tart. I'm not much of a cheesecake person. Like, it's not that I dislike it, but oftentimes I find that cheesecakes are really, really sweet cream cheese, and that's what they taste like. And I don't care for that. I've never been a huge like cream cheese person. But this Basque cheesecake, holy freaking balls, dude, it's so good. It's almost like a dense creme brulee, like cream ice cream, but not cold like that. But oh my god, so good and creamy, and all of the flavors were so good. And so now Basque cheesecake is my hyperfixation obsession. And I have Friendsgiving this weekend, so I'm going to try making a pumpkin Basque cheesecake as my contribution. And I should do something else too. I need to see what they're doing, but I'm gonna try making that tomorrow because you want it to like set overnight and it's early on Saturday. And I just don't know if I'll have time on Friday. I'm thinking about making it tomorrow. Maybe I should just make it Friday. Anyway. But yeah, so I am hyper fixated on these Basque cheesecakes. So I'm going to try to make a pumpkin one and a plain one. And if they turn out well, then I'll probably make them for my family's Thanksgiving too. Yeah. But yeah, that is the only exciting thing that I have going on right now. Literally, the only exciting thing is that I'm gonna bake a cheesecake. Oh, and we're gonna paint Warhammer minis on Saturdays. I'm very excited for that too. Before my potluck. My potluck's at 2. Yeah. But anyway, that's all I've got going on. I hope you guys are doing well. I'm excited. Let me make myself a little tinier for our watch along situation. Hey, Crafting Gamer, how are you? Ta-da. So today is our fantasy day. And I wanted to watch this video about the colleges of magic. And I think we've only watched, what, 1, maybe 2 Pancreas videos. So I wanted to watch some more of him, from him. And I feel like this would be an interesting episode because I love magic and wizards and mages. They're always like my favorite. In any kind of fantasy setting, RPG game, whatever it is, I love a mage. So I'm intrigued by Warhammer Fantasy Magic. So that's what we're gonna watch today. Is Pancreas No Works, The Colleges of Magic. How to only kind of explode in Warhammer, which this concerns me, but I'm sure it's fine and we'll get to it. Yeah, as always, let me know if you guys think the volume is a little rough. I checked the mixer and tested it out beforehand, but sometimes certain voices like will look like they're loud enough and they're not. So just let me know if you guys need me to adjust it a bit, if it's too quiet or too loud. And otherwise, let's get started and learn about magic. Thanks, gamer. Yeah, I haven't finished looking at all that. I probably will tomorrow. So no worries. Okay, magic time.
I've been in quite the magical mood lately. As
Me
the winds of
too.
magic wax and wane, so too do the fortunes of the wizards of Warhammer Fantasy. It's a pretty miserable lot in life they've got, all things considered, if perhaps the slightest bit better than Psychers over in 40k.
Oh.
There isn't no Harry Potter magic here. Magic isn't fun and whimsical for practitioners to enjoy casting funny frog spells at people with.
Oh.
This is the real world we're talking about here. Or a darker, fake world at any rate. Mages in Warhammer Fantasy contend with all sorts of horrors, both mundane and supernatural, that no one else needs worry about. Your former neighbors rallying together with pitchforks and torches is a very real problem you may face, because wizards tend to not be looked very fondly upon. And
Oh, we're back to the Salem witch trials, are we? That's the vibe I get.
of course, casting something as simple as the most basic of D&D cantrips here is asking for demons to possess your mind and tear your body into a portal to a realm of pure misery. So yeah, not exactly the best lot in life they've been given. Unmatched power is a lot less appealing when it comes with unmatched danger. Luckily, at least amongst the wizards of the Empire of Man, there's one organization dedicated to giving them a slightly less miserable lot in life. The Colleges of Magic.
I'm sure he'll explain, but wizards in Warhammer Fantasy, by using magic, they can get possessed by a demon. Even something as simple as like light this candle, poof this tiny little flame off out of my finger. That's kind of what it sounded like. If so, that's crazy. And I don't know if I would pick that class if I was a person in Warhammer Fantasy. Chaos and magic are very closely related. But like, just because I'm doing magic, why do demons have to be involved? You know?
The grim darkness of roughly Renaissance age Europe, the colleges of magic are just about the only things keeping the Empire's wizards from getting snuffed out from about 1,000 different things. So let's learn about them. What the colleges are all about, what each one is, and of course, what the pompous jerks in them are all about from school to school. But before I begin talking about fantasy magic, would you like to hear about some real-life magic? What kind, you may ask? The magic of Adam and Eve, the sponsor of this video. Adam and Eve makes the finest adult toys across the land, but they don't just have quality, they have quantity. Some people may think a dozen is a large number, others 100. Adam and Eve are not content with anything less than over 1,100 options for you to pick from.
Damn.
One way or another, you will find something you like in their catalog. But that's not all, viewer. As the saying goes, discretion is the better part of valor, and Adam and Eve has you covered there too. 24/7 customer service, a 90-day no-hassle returns policy, and completely descript shipping means you won't just be satisfied with the ending, you'll be satisfied the whole way through. They've been doing this for over 50 years, so you know they're good at being people pleasers in more way than one. And of course, 20% of all profits go to fighting the spread of HIV worldwide. Is that not a worthy cause? To help yourself unwind after a long and hard day at work, I've even a discount for you. Head to adamandeve.com and use code Pancreas for 50% off one item, as well as free shipping in the US and Canada and free rush processing. That's adamandeve.com and code Pancreas for 50% off one item, free shipping in the US and Canada, and free rush processing.
Honestly, he's pretty goated to do an Adam and Eve sponsorship. I totally would. You gotta support. I didn't know that they give 20% of proceeds to help HIV research or whatever. That's so fucking sick. I've never ordered from them, but I feel like I will now. Risk factor makes everything cooler, and there's ways to make it safer, but not foolproof. I see. Okay.
Exclusions apply. Your wallet will feel good, and of course, you'll feel good. So head to Adam and Eve today. Now then, time to earn your masters in calling down lightning. The colleges of magic are the other classic good guy fantasy race's way of helping out the silly goofballs of mankind. The elves, that is. I'm going to be talking about elves shortly. The dwarves helped Sigmar kill a whole lot of orcs, as well as found the mighty empire that would continue on for another 2,500 years. Wow. They taught mankind metalworking, stoneworking, proper city planning, not quite everything related to civilization, but a pretty damn good amount of that kind of thing. The elves, meanwhile, mostly just taught them the proper usage of magic. That might sound like the dwarfs gave mankind a whole lot more than the elves did, and fair's fair, in day-to-day life they absolutely did, but
I was gonna say, yeah, dude, the dwarves were goated. What the fuck? The elves were like, yeah, here's magic. The dwarves were like, here's literally everything else.
You gotta remember that Warhammer Fantasy is, as the name implies, a fantasy setting. In day-to-day life, the ability to make iron farming equipment is a lot more helpful than controlling the arcane arts. But the problem comes from when demons attack, or their worshippers using their magics attack. And this isn't just a one-off chance based on whether or not you're unfortunate enough to live in Nordland. There were 12 Ever-Chosens of Chaos before the one that finally blew the world up. Dealing with magic is something that regularly has to happen in this setting. Now, let's look back at the dwarfs. The dwarfs were explicitly not the final creation of the old ones because of how they handled magic. Or rather, how they didn't handle magic, because they can do it. Chaos dwarfs can, but it turns them to stone. What dwarfs can...
Whoa, that was loaded information. So dwarves can't use magic, but chaos dwarves can, but then they turn to stone, so they use magic one time, and then they're just... a statue? That's crazy.
can do is use runic magic, basically grabbing magic by the throat and hammering it into a shape they can do something with. It's reliable, far less likely to go wrong, and when it does go wrong, it's usually less catastrophic.
Okay.
It can be catastrophic still, but less so than normal magic is a good rule of thumb. The problem is mankind does not interact with magic in the way the dwarfs do. It's a fundamentally different position the two races are in, and even if it wasn't, the dwarfs tend to guard how runic magic works jealously. You need to understand the dwarf language first of all, which is something they rarely so much as speak aloud around non-dwarfs, Spartan and his constant string of nonsense and vermintide notwithstanding. Then you need to learn all the trade secrets, and any aspiring human runesmith would be promptly told to get bent by a dwarf for asking them how it works. So mankind was largely left to their own devices against magic by the dwarfs. For a time it worked. Sigmar was a hell of a guy, and the various witch hunters and angry mobs for the most part could handle any rogue magicians. Come proper chaos invasions and Everchosens, however, mankind was always pulling through them by the skin of its teeth. Against the magic of chaos, all they could do was pray to their gods and their strength in arms, which, again, did work, but it wasn't nearly as effective as it could be. Divine magic isn't quite the same as normal magic, and on the whole tends to also be less powerful than proper magic. Trying to fight a chaos lord with your bare hands, meanwhile, is the kind of thing that earns you a closed casket funeral. For less apocalyptic concerns, hedge mages and witches were common throughout the Empire, and the problem here is that all magic was considered weird heresy nonsense. All of it. Naturally, such sweeping generalizations cause some problems.
Yeah, but if all magic was considered like heresy, then how did they defend against like chaos, you know? It's a gradual gradual petrification. That makes sense. Stronger magic is faster. Okay. A lot of races are old ones attempts to make a weapon against chaos. So dwarfs were heavy on the anti-magic. Faith, steel, and gunpowder. Grit and determination. We got through it with grit and determination. That's insane. Insanity. Huh.
The least of them was that it made no magic really better or worse in the eyes of the people. When you consider a necromancer, a Tzeentch wizard, and someone who'd be a life wizard to be all the same thing, the actual threat in front of you may not be taken seriously. There'd be a situation where your knowledge of mages consists of your one neighbor who sometimes heals your wounds, so you ignore the problematic ones until it's too late. Or arguably worse, things will be taken too seriously. This could and did lead to things like lynch mobs forming to burn the kindly old lady who used a dash of pixie dust in her hand.
Not more Salem witch trials, dude. Even in Warhammer. Okay, to be fair, as soon as I say that, I'm like, of course in Warhammer. I should be saying, like, even in real life. Like, of course it's gonna be in Warhammer. It's fucking Warhammer. It's real life made a billion times worse. Poor little lady.
Hangover cures, while they put off taking down the guy resurrecting entire graveyards because Grandma was closer and therefore took priority. There was no proper way to categorize or rank threats because all magic was considered equally bad and therefore all wizards were considered equally dangerous. On the mage's end, it meant that they were far more likely to cause harm both accidental and intentional. Accidentally, no place of formal training means no one to teach you how to safely be a wizard. Pure trial and error was all that could be done, and when one wrong step leads to accidentally summoning Kairos Fate Weaver, the potential for things going wrong was immense. Plus, being taught all magic is inherently evil is the kind of thing that plenty of hedge mages would take all the wrong lessons from as their power developed. Countless
being put on a witch trial for knowing math? Seriously. Hi Hiva, how are you? Yeah, it seems like the early stages were not good ones. This is why you gotta be open-minded, guys. You make it so much worse by being closed off, you know? If they just had the school to begin with, it would have been okay. Yeah, Heba, this is Warhammer Fantasy, so it's Warhammer 40K's like other old universe, so it's more fantasy than sci-fi. And it was a pretty dark existence in this world. It has seemed so far.
Magical spells in Warhammer are not only not designed to hurt people, but aren't even helpful in combat, period. Without a formal education, these untrained wizards were simply told that all magic is bad. But then they start practicing their craft and discover the countless spells that in many ways are entirely positive in nature. They might make the entirely understandable assumption that if the Empire is wrong about those spells and kinds of magic, maybe they're wrong about other spells and lores of magic as well. Cut to a few years down the line, and they're helping in Tzeentchian plots. It would become a sort of feedback loop. They would discover that no, not all magic is evil, and then they'd trip into magic that very much was evil and harmful, because non-mages who didn't understand things were making assumptions. As for hedge mages intentionally harming others, that would come about from self-defense most of the time. People treating all magic as evil means that no matter what you do with it, you're getting burnt at the stake. If things got to be that dire, a wizard in those circumstances might have another understandable thought process. If they're gonna kill me no matter what, I'm gonna learn some of the real asshole spells for when they do eventually come for me.
I mean, you can't be mad at that. Like, you can't blame them for that one. You know, it sounds like you're born a wizard. Like, you're born with the ability to wield magic. And, you know, if you do the right thing, if you're a good person, you're trying to help the world out, and they're still like, wizard, die. I can't really fault them for being like, oh, even though, like, I saved your sick grandma and repaired your roof with my fucking magic, you're gonna burn me at the stake? Well, fuck you too. Take this plague. It's one where you sneeze every 5 minutes for the rest of your life. Get fucked. You know? I can't blame them for that. I cannot blame them for that. The Empire defending against magic, mostly by breaking the law and hiring hedge wizards. Oh. Huh. A gateway drug. Yeah, true, actually. It did sound like a gateway drug, huh? Asshole magics. The F you before you F me class of wizardry. I mean, you can learn them for self-preservation, and then if you don't use them, I don't think you're a bad person. It's kind of like, you know, in America, you can buy a gun, and you can own a gun for self-defense or whatever. It doesn't make you a bad person just for owning a gun. Now, if you go shoot a person with it who wasn't doing anything wrong, yeah, that makes you a bad person. If you go use the magic to do something wrong, yeah, then you'll be a bad person. But just by having it doesn't make you an evil person, you know?
Countless wizards who'd otherwise have been a force for the Empire's protection instead no doubt learnt the secrets of necromancy, chaos, and more, because when you treat all wizards like monsters, some of them are going to turn into monsters.
Exactly,
also
true.
To have a fallback for when you come for them, or just bitter mages giving the Empire the monstrous mages they made them out to all be.
This guy looks like a budget Haikyuu character. Do you guys see it? Like, they look like a volleyball player. I saw it and thought uniform, and I was like, what fucking anime ass dude is this? Sorry. That's all I could think of when I saw it.
The system in place fed into creating the worst kind of wizards possible in all ways. At most, the occasional witch or wizard would work with the Empire during times of crisis, like when a Skaven invasion threatened everything, as they tend to do every now and again.
Right.
Plenty of noble courts did have mages on the down low, but by and large, it was burn the witch whenever you found one. Then Chaos did one of its classic invasions, specifically Asavar Kul, the 12th ever chosen of Chaos. He was defeated at great cost, but by this point it was becoming clear, especially with the advice of those who had found the colleges, the High Elves, that as beings of magic, using magic against demons makes sense. If that sounds silly to you, imagine it this way. Counterspell is a spell in D&D, and therefore magic. Its usage is, of course, stopping magic. You gotta fight fire with fire and all that, you know? More specifically as to which elf decided this, it was Teclis, my husband's favorite High Elf.
I don't know him yet, but can he also be my husband, Pancreas? Can we share custody over our husband? I am interested in in a polygamous relationship with Teclis. I think that's what it would be called. We don't have to do anything, Pancreas. I'm not trying to be weird. I just want Teclis. He has a model? Oh, shit. Someone send me the model in Discord for scientific reasons, please and thank you.
Teclis himself foresaw that mankind should be in a good state, if for no other reason than to help the elves out. Him being Teclis, he no doubt meant it in a far kinder way than that, but I have to imagine he made it sound a lot more arrogant to the other elves to convince them. Teclis met with Magnus the Pious, and together they would not only legalize magic in the Empire, but form the colleges of magic to allow mankind, at least in the Empire, to finally safely practice the arcane arts. Going all the way back to the start of the video, this is what I meant by you needing to remember Warhammer Fantasy is a fantasy setting. Just ignoring magic and trying to stab anyone who practices it isn't ultimately practical, nor is it the safest option, given what a rogue wizard can do when their back is against the wall. Now mankind could be properly educated in the arcane arts to try.
Hey, Zephyr, how are you? Thanks for the follow. Welcome in. We're learning about fantasy magic wizards today. Warhammer Fantasy and the schools of magic. Yeah, I want to see Teclis's model, though. I'm interested. Will my husband need to be my, what is this, fourth purchase? Question mark? Hold on, wait. Okay. We have the Battle Sisters that we're painting like all the Glishars talents. I have Lady Olinda. That is the what you guys voted on for me to get from the moving birthday subathon situation. I have Saint Celestine, you guys gifted me. And I have the one that I bought that I haven't revealed yet to you guys, because it's going to have a special theme we're going to do during Christmas time. Need more minis? Yeah. I'm low-key obsessed with all of the night haunts in fantasy. And I want to collect all of the sororitas 40k stuff. I'm close. I say I'm close. I think I have 2. I need the Redemption, and I need, what else do I need? Repentia. I need the Repentia, and I need the Novice Squad, and I need the Seraphim, and I need something else. But thanks for dropping in, Zephyr. Hope you're having a good one. Okay. So yeah, magic. This art is sick, by the way. Pancreas has put this one up here a couple times. And I'm low-key, high-key obsessed. It feels like it should be on a Magic the Gathering card. You know what I mean? I feel a lot of similarities with Magic artwork and Warhammer artwork. And this feels like it should be like a planeswalker or something. I really like it.
Back the horrors mundane and supernatural of the world with. And if this all sounds a bit too happy-go-lucky My Little Pony for you, Teclis went around testing a lot of people for aptitude in magic to form the first batch of college-educated wizards with. Anyone that he felt was too corrupted by chaos got Teclis.
Oh wait, I love him for that. Teclis, yep. Teclis is my second husband, only preceded by my first husband, Sanguinius. Yes, I can travel the different worlds to have husbands in both of them. Don't question it. It did look like Chandra in 10 years, right? You get me. You get it. I'm succumbing to the plastic crack. I truthfully just want to paint them. I just want to paint them. I like that Teclis is no nonsense with chaos. It makes me like him more. All right, magic in the modern empire.
The transition from no wizardry to wizardry wasn't smooth, of course, but after enough people stopped accidentally blowing themselves up, the first official magistrates, as they were called, had been created. Originally, it was essentially just a title that meant they are a legal practitioner of magic. In these early days, all they could really hope to do was practice magic. It takes time for traditions to form and codify, and with something as dangerous as magic in this setting, time was what they needed most of all. But once you introduce something new to a government, it starts to interact with all the rest of said government, and soon enough, magistrates found themselves across the empire in positions of political prominence.
I was gonna say, this is bad because now you have official, allowed wizards in contact with politicians. This sounds like corruption, like just primed and ready to go, you know?
The most important, of course, is the Supreme Patriarch/Matriarch of the Colleges of Magic. Every 8 years, each of the 8 colleges sends a representative, usually their own patriarch, to see who gets to be the next guy in charge. They then enter an obsidian arena one at a time, each newcomer challenging the sitting patriarch until a new challenger is decided. Usually this is someone grabs the Staff of Volans in the center, and by older lore, that was the end of things. But in theory, the duel can keep going. Assuming, of course, the guy who didn't grab it wants to keep dueling a wizard who just grabbed a staff that vastly enhances their power. These duels aren't necessarily to the death, and it is frowned upon, but when you're slinging around powerful magic and you have people from the schools of fire and death, it happens. When a new Supreme Patriarch is chosen, the winds of magic in Altdorf themselves change how they shift, with the Supreme Patriarch's wind blowing more strongly. They'll change policy, naturally making things a little easier for their own order, and of course the new or returning one is one of the most powerful people in the Empire of Man. Aside from that being literally true, magical policy is up to them and their closest advisors, and an emperor who doesn't heed their word is a foolish one indeed. Even at lower levels, just about every court in the Empire will have some magistrate advising them on all matters magical and supernatural. The current Supreme Patriarch, as his title suggests, is a supreme fella named Balthasar Gelt. Eternally may his light shine as he mugs random taxi drivers in the street for pocket change, recruiting new
That screenshot of him with that insane jawline really did make him look like the kind of person who would be like mugging taxi drivers. That was crazy. Like, he looked like a scammer. Oh, the Techless Mini is sold out and not on Amazon. Dang. My husband. He's sold out. I can't buy my husband. This is so sad. Wizards would rule over any world they're in, so it makes sense. That's true. It does make sense. Cause like, who's gonna fuck with the wizard, you know? I don't know. Just for the love of the game. The imperial government is about 90% corruption, held up by the religious and traditionally not descending into chaos very quickly. Wizardry is the last of their problems. Yeah, I guess that's true. I can't buy my husband. Sad face. This is crazy out of context. I can't buy him. My husband. I need him in my arms. I gotta build him up, you know? And I can't buy him. Sad.
Ages is fairly straightforward in most cases. Magical talent can appear in a person at just about any age, though most commonly it happens from 15 to 25 years old. Journeyman wizards, not quite full masters, are tasked with wandering the Empire every now and again to scout out for magically inclined people. When they find one such person,
they're the magic recruiters. Wizard recruiters.
they can either send them right to Altdorf or a more local preparatory school, since the institution has by this point become widespread enough that magical middle school is a thing in the Empire. The specifics of an apprentice's education like this vary from school to school, but that's the broad strokes. Interestingly enough, we see that the colleges of magic actually have quite a bit of power over witch hunters in this case. For instance, it is outright illegal for them to punish children for magical acts. After all, the 10-year-old fire mage in the making probably didn't want to outright burn their house down. Magical applicants to the colleges also can't be turned away outright, and patriarchs of the different orders may force a master to take on an apprentice if they're at some sort of risk. The exact definition of what counts as illegal magic is also up to the colleges to decide, which you can bet pisses off the witch hunters. The colleges...
Oh, for sure. Also, that kind of, I don't know if I fully agree with that, because you need some sort of check and balance. You know what I'm saying?
Mages of magic don't have infinite power, of course, though they have a say in what kind of unsanctioned magic is actually punishable by death. The witch hunters of Sigmar are more than happy to put to the flame any wizard that oversteps their bounds, and anyone over the age of 25 who develops magical talent may be declared a mutant, for how else could you explain suddenly developing those abilities? Proving the illegality of a given person's usage of their powers is also likely something that varies based on both the witch hunter in question as well as where they are. Even if you're pushing 40, witch hunters are probably less likely to send you to the stake if you spontaneously become a wizard in Reichland. On the other hand, some backwater Stirland town won't even need to call in the witch hunters to deal with a mage. They'll kill them themselves. In the grim darkness of the Empire's shittiest province, anything goes. They've also not got a vote in the election of a new emperor, and as such do need to have some level of reverence to the office lest it be disbanded. It was, in fact, at one point disbanded for a few decades, showing that the colleges of magic aren't quite as independent as they'd no doubt like. Nevertheless, the organization, in spite of the distrust and hatred towards wizards, has entrenched itself into the Empire as an entity both politically and physically powerful. Everyone dealing with a wizard knows that even if the witch hunters come to them, there's only so much that can stop them from bringing dozens, if not more, down with them before Sigmar's finest can put them in chains. Plus, people in power are aware that the Warhammer world has a whole lot of terrible, nasty things in it that are best dealt with spellfire rather than a sword, so it's good to have some wizards to hand when they're needed. A contact within the colleges of magic can see a person made to be wealthy and powerful beyond their wildest dreams, because at the end of the day, these are organizations that can rewrite reality on a whim in some way or another. That's just about the basics of the College of Magic as an institution, so how about we go through the individual colleges now?
Celestial College.
We'll once again start with the Celestial College. It implores Karl Franz to listen to what you have to say, but he remains unconvinced. The Celestial College is the branch that correlates with the Zir, the wind of the heavens. Their symbol is a comet, because subtlety is for people that can't drop space rocks on you.
Subtlety is for people who can't drop space rocks on you is a 10 out of 10 line. Oh my god. I mean, I like their vibe so far, I can't lie.
First of them to come around were stargazers, astronomers, and astrologers. Anything from people with genuine interest in how the universe at large works to hot topic witch girls could be a celestial wizard. Its central hub in Altdorf was once a nice-looking but largely plain building, until apparently 102 years ago, prior to the setting's modern day, when every celestial wizard got into a dick-building contest over towers. Who has the tallest tower was all the rage. By the end of it, the Emperor finally said, "Cool it with the damn towers," and by that point the Celestial College had 16 of the things.
Oh my god.
4 is the sacred number of Azir, and 4 times 4 is 16. It towers over the area of Altdorf that it's in, with blue walls studded with paintings and gems representing the heavens adorning this majestic piece of architecture.
That is so funny. It's like dick contest, but how big can you build your tower? Can you build it as tall as my tower? Oh shit, you can? Well, my tower's not even done yet. It's actually gonna be 2 times this height. Actually. Why is it curved? I bet the smallest one had great architecture. And I bet it felt really good to like exist in that tower, you know? My girlfriend says she doesn't even like big towers. Honestly, I think big towers are overrated. It's true.
Each tower is named after an important figure from the college, and in some cases, like Uranon, you may also recognize them as spells celestial wizards use in combat. The college has a funny magical effect around it. See, shadow magic surrounds just about all the colleges to some extent to keep prying eyes away. With the Celestial College's grounds, there's a little something extra to keep people out. A small little spell makes sure that you always just fail to notice the building if you aren't really looking for it. The flag will always just so happen to blow in front of your line of sight to the building. Some random garbage will always just so happen to float in front of your face as your eyes pass it by. It doesn't really affect other mages, but normal people essentially never notice the building. Even if someone points it out, it comes and goes from their mind almost the moment they turn around. Any details are lost, and the absolute most they might remember is, oh hey, guess there's a cool building there. Visitors are still perfectly welcome, especially those willing to pay a handsome sum for future readings, but in day-to-day life, the college goes unnoticed in spite of being 16 massive towers with astronomy domes domes on top of them. The day-to-day life of
Honestly, that little like you don't notice us spell or whatever, I feel like that would be so useful. Oh man. Imagine if you could do it in a crowd, you know? You don't notice me, I'm not here. Cast it on your cars? I don't know about that, because then other cars wouldn't notice me. And then they might hit me. You know? Oh, that's true though. Never get a speeding ticket. Maybe you could like cast it whenever a cop is around. Hey, Shay. Straight up rob a bank, use it on a bank. Oh shit, you're so right. Okay, there's a lot of nefarious ways. I didn't even think about it. I was just thinking like when you don't want to be noticed.
celestial wizards is fairly mundane, but with a mystical tint to it, if that makes sense. Lower-ranking wizards are often tasked with the most mundane things possible. Potential jobs for a celestial apprentice include, but are not limited to, cleaning bird shit off the domes of the astronomy buildings, as well as traveling to the corners of the Empire to take note of random weather patterns.
Hey, someone's gotta do it, you know?
Once they become a magistrate proper, they're given a ceremonial telescope and given essentially free reign. They may take part in the Great Experiment, an attempt by the Celestial College to use magic and the movement of planets to track the future with perfect accuracy. Of course, the most common pastime is lounging around and thinking about philosophy, math, how those things interact, and general magical theory crafting.
Okay, but it seems pretty goated to have the life of a wizard. You can just like lounge around and have like theoretical conversations. I would do this.
To be fair to them, they are actually pondering their school of thought and working on something. But as I mentioned in my Winds of Magic video, you'll know that celestial wizards are oftentimes seen as having a chill stoner kind of vibe. The difference between zoning out and deeply contemplating is a very thin line, and quite frankly, which side of it a celestial wizard is on at any given moment is impossible to tell. Because they're such daydreamers, they're notoriously awful at taking care of the college, so the Celestial College has the most servants out of any of the 8. They take particular care to be kind to them, because otherwise these wizards would have to stop daydreaming for a bit and actually cook food and clean.
Oh my god, I want to be in this one already.
Steel Masters and Patriarchs, meanwhile, are the kinds of fellows to be advising the Emperor on national policy for events that'll come to pass in 200 years. One fella named Lord Stern Glazend wants to explore Lustria, having learned about the plaques of the Old Ones and wanting to use them to help divine the future. The Old Ones' great plan seems to account for plenty, and if you believe some Age of Sigmar lore, that includes the End Times, which is a fitting study for the college to look into. On the other hand, the wizard Lord Methuselah has seen the End Times, as in the actual event. Contrary visions of it, sure, but he knows what's coming. These are the kinds of things celestial wizards at the highest level are concerning themselves with. They can become so obsessed that people who don't meet their expectations are quickly left to their own devices, not because they're taskmaster assholes, but because they just forget they exist. Their heads are almost literally in the clouds most of the time, after all. Aside from gazing into the end of the world, the Celestial College does have great relations with the Navy. Having someone to hand that can control the winds and predict storms is a great thing for a captain to have at hand when traveling across the seas. They've also got good relations with scholars and the cult of Varena in particular, since as a goddess of knowledge and wisdom, celestial wizards oftentimes interact with their cultists on positive terms. Together they
She's really cool looking. Okay, I have to go do my daily thing that I have to do every weekday at this time. So I will be right back, guys, okay? I'll be right back. We're gonna take a short break. And we'll be right back and resume the video, okay? Don't leave me.
Suddenly lost control, now you're caught. What is going on? Well, can't you see? You're under the control of Riri. The friendly neighborhood ghost here to check in on all the lovely souls under her possession, hoping to give herself a taste of what it's like to be not as clumsy. The ghosty girl who goes to game, what she doing, what she playing. Everybody playing cool it's the coolest of the ghouls. Strong will end a lot of ambition, can't see through them like apparitions. Determined to bring only the best, get in the way, be her guest. Riri the ghosty girl steals your body, steals the show. Klutzy and a little forgetful, but meeting her is unforgettable. She's a scream queen that can scare the soul, but guides all wandering souls back home. Give your mind, body, all and more to Riri the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri the ghosty girl. Just a normal day or so we thought. Suddenly lost control, now you're caught. What is going on? Well, can't you see? You're under the control of Riri. The friendly neighborhood ghost is here to check in on all the lovely souls under her possession, hoping to give herself a taste of what it's like to be not as clumsy. The ghosty girl who goes to game, what she doing, what she playing. Everybody playing cool, it's the coolest of the ghouls. Strong will end a lot of ambition, can't see through them like apparitions. Determined to bring only the best, get in the way, be her guest. Riri the ghosty girl steals your body, steals the show. Klutzy and a little forgetful, but meeting her is unforgettable. She's a scream queen that can scare the soul, but guides all wandering souls back home. Give your mind, body, all and more to Riri the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri the ghosty girl. Just a normal day or so we thought. Suddenly lost control, now you're caught. What is going on? Well, can't you see? You're under the control of Riri. The friendly neighborhood ghost is here to check in on all the lovely souls under her possession, hoping to give herself a taste of what it's like to be not as clumsy. The ghosty girl who goes to game, what she doing, what she playing. Everybody playing cool, it's the coolest of the ghouls. Strong will end a lot of ambition, can't see through them like apparitions. Determined to bring only the best, get in the way, be her guest. Riri the ghosty girl steals your body, steals the show. Klutzy and a little forgetful, but meeting her is unforgettable. She's a scream queen that can scare the soul, but guides all wandering souls back home. Give your mind, body, all and more to Riri the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri the ghosty girl. Just a normal day or so we thought. Suddenly lost control, now you're caught. What is going on? Well, can't you see? You're under the control of Riri. The friendly neighborhood ghost is here to check in on all the lovely souls under her possession, hoping to give herself a taste of what it's like to be not as clumsy. The ghosty girl who goes to game, what she doing, what she playing. Everybody playing cool, it's the coolest of the ghouls. Strong will end a lot of ambition, can't see through them like apparitions. Determined to bring only the best, get in the way, be her guest. Riri the ghosty girl steals your body, steals the show. Klutzy and a little forgetful, but meeting her is unforgettable. She's a scream queen that can scare the soul, but guides all wandering souls back home. Give your mind, body, all and more to Riri the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri said it's Riri, the ghosty girl. Just a normal day or so we thought. Suddenly lost control, now you're caught. What is going on? Well, can't you see? You're under the control of Riri, the friendly neighborhood ghost is here to check in on all the lovely souls under her possession, hoping to give herself a taste of what it's like to be not as clumsy. The ghosty girl who goes to game. What she doing, what she playing. Everybody playing cool, it's the coolest of the ghouls. Strong will end, a lot of ambition. Can't see through them like apparitions. Determined to bring only the best. Get in the way, be her guest. Riri, the ghosty girl, steals your body, steals the show. Klutzy and a little forgetful, but meeting her is unforgettable. She's a scream queen that can scare the soul, but guides all wandering souls back home. Give your mind, body, all and more to Riri, the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri, the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri, the ghosty girl. Just a normal day or so we thought. Suddenly lost control, now you're caught. What is going on? Well, can't you see? You're under the control of Riri, the friendly neighborhood ghost is here to check in on all the lovely souls under her possession, hoping to give herself a taste of what it's like to be not as clumsy. The ghosty girl who goes to game. What she doing, what she playing. Everybody playing cool, it's the coolest of the ghouls. Strong will end, a lot of ambition. Can't see through them like apparitions. Determined to bring only the best. Get in the way, be her guest. Riri, the ghosty girl, steals your body, steals the show. Klutzy and a little forgetful, but meeting her is unforgettable. She's a scream queen that can scare the soul, but guides all wandering souls back home. Give your mind, body, all and more to Riri, the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri, the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri, the ghosty girl. Just a normal day or so we thought. Suddenly lost control, now you're caught. What is going on? Well, can't you see? You're under the control of Riri, the friendly neighborhood ghost is here to check in on all the lovely souls under her possession, hoping to give herself a taste of what it's like to be not as clumsy. The ghosty girl who goes to game. What she doing, what she playing. Everybody playing cool, it's the coolest of the ghouls. Strong will end, a lot of ambition. Can't see through them like apparitions. Determined to bring only the best. Get in the way, be her guest. Riri, the ghosty girl, steals your body, steals the show. Klutzy and a little forgetful, but meeting her is unforgettable. She's a scream queen that can scare the soul, but guides all wandering souls back home. Give your mind, body, all and more to Riri, the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri, the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri, the ghosty girl. Just a normal day or so we thought. Suddenly lost control, now you're caught. What is going on? Well, can't you see? You're under the control of Riri, the check in on all the lovely souls under her possession, hoping to give herself a taste of what it's like to be not as clumsy. The ghosty girl who goes to game, what she doing, what she playing, everybody playing cool, it's the coolest of the ghouls. Strong will end, a lot of ambition, can't see through them like apparitions, determined to bring only the best, get in the way, be her guest. Riri the ghosty girl, steals your body, steals the show, klutzy and a little forgetful, but meeting her is unforgettable. She's a scream queen that can scare the soul, but guides all wandering souls back home. Give your mind, body, all and more to Riri the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri the ghosty girl. Just a normal day or so we thought, suddenly lost control, now you're caught. What is going on? Well, can't you see? You're under the control of Riri, the friendly neighborhood ghost here to check in on all the lovely souls under her possession, hoping to give herself a taste of what it's like to be not as clumsy. The ghosty girl who goes to game, what she doing, what she playing, everybody playing cool, it's the coolest of the ghouls. Strong will end, a lot of ambition, can't see through them like apparitions, determined to bring only the best, get in the way, be her guest. Riri the ghosty girl, steals your body, steals the show, klutzy and a little forgetful, but meeting her is unforgettable. She's a scream queen that can scare the soul, but guides all wandering souls back home. Give your mind, body, all and more to Riri the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri the ghosty girl. Just a normal day or so we thought, suddenly lost control, now you're caught. What is going on? Well, can't you see? You're under the control of Riri, the friendly neighborhood ghost here to check in on all the lovely souls under her possession, hoping to give herself a taste of what it's like to be not as clumsy. The ghosty girl who goes to game, what she doing, what she playing, everybody playing cool, it's the coolest of the ghouls. Strong will end, a lot of ambition, can't see through them like apparitions, determined to bring only the best, get in the way, be her guest. Riri the ghosty girl, steals your body, steals the show, klutzy and a little forgetful, but meeting her is unforgettable. She's a scream queen that can scare the soul, but guides all wandering souls back home. Give your mind, body, all and more to Riri the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri the ghosty girl. Just a normal day or so we thought, suddenly lost control, now you're caught. What is going on? Well, can't you see? You're under the control of Riri, the friendly neighborhood ghost here to check in on all the lovely souls under her possession, hoping to give herself a taste of what it's like to be not as clumsy. The ghosty girl who goes to game, what she doing, what she playing, everybody playing cool, it's the coolest of the ghouls. Strong will end, a lot of ambition, can't see through them like apparitions, determined to bring only the best, get in the way, be her guest. Riri the ghosty girl, steals your body, steals the show, klutzy and a little forgetful, but meeting her is on unforgettable. She's a scream queen that can scare the soul, but guides all wandering souls back home. Give your mind, body, all and more to Riri, the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri, the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri, the ghosty girl. Just a normal day or so we thought. Suddenly lost control, now you're caught. What is going on? Well, can't you see? You're under the control of Riri, the friendly neighborhood ghost here to check in on all the lovely souls under her possession, hoping to give herself a taste of what it's like to be not as clumsy. The ghosty girl who goes to game. What she doing, what she playing. Everybody playing cool, it's the coolest of the ghouls. Strong will end, a lot of ambition. Can't see through them like apparitions. Determined to bring only the best. Get in the way, be her guest. Riri, the ghosty girl, steals your body, steals the show. Klutzy and a little forgetful, but meeting her is unforgettable. She's a scream queen that can scare the soul, but guides all wandering souls back home. Give your mind, body, all and more to Riri, the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri, the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri, the ghosty girl. Just a normal day or so we thought. Suddenly lost control, now you're caught. What is going on? Well, can't you see? You're under the control of Riri, the friendly neighborhood ghost here to check in on all the lovely souls under her possession, hoping to give herself a taste of what it's like to be not as clumsy. The ghosty girl who goes to game. What she doing, what she playing. Everybody playing cool, it's the coolest of the ghouls. Strong will end, a lot of ambition. Can't see through them like apparitions. Determined to bring only the best. Get in the way, be her guest. Riri, the ghosty girl, steals your body, steals the show. Klutzy and a little forgetful, but meeting her is unforgettable. She's a scream queen that can scare the soul, but guides all wandering souls back home. Give your mind, body, all and more to Riri, the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri, the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri, the ghosty girl. Just a normal day or so we thought. Suddenly lost control, now you're caught. What is going on? Well, can't you see? You're under the control of Riri, the friendly neighborhood ghost here to check in on all the lovely souls under her possession, hoping to give herself a taste of what it's like to be not as clumsy. The ghosty girl who goes to game. What she doing, what she playing. Everybody playing cool, it's the coolest of the ghouls. Strong will end, a lot of ambition. Can't see through them like apparitions. Determined to bring only the best. Get in the way, be her guest. Riri, the ghosty girl, steals your body, steals the show. Klutzy and a little forgetful, but meeting her is unforgettable. She's a scream queen that can scare the soul, but guides all wandering souls back home. Give your mind, body, all and more to Riri, the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri, the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri, the ghosty girl. so we thought. Suddenly lost control, now you're caught. What is going on? Well, can't you see? You're under the control of Riri. The friendly neighborhood ghost is here to check in on all the lovely souls under her possession, hoping to give herself a taste of what it's like to be not as clumsy. The ghosty girl who goes to game. What she doing, what she playing. Everybody playing cool, it's the coolest of the ghouls. Strong will end, a lot of ambition. Can't see through them like apparitions. Determined to bring only the best. Get in the way, be her guest. Riri, the ghosty girl, steals your body, steals the show. Klutzy and a little forgetful, but meeting her is unforgettable. She's a scream queen that can scare the soul, but guides all wandering souls back home. Give your mind, body, all and more to Riri, the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri, the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri, the ghosty girl. Just a normal day, or so we thought. Suddenly lost control, now you're caught. What is going on? Well, can't you see? You're under the control of Riri. The friendly neighborhood ghost is here to check in on all the lovely souls under her possession, hoping to give herself a taste of what it's like to be not as clumsy. The ghosty girl who goes to game. What she doing, what she playing. Everybody playing cool, it's the coolest of the ghouls. Strong will end, a lot of ambition. Can't see through them like apparitions. Determined to bring only the best. Get in the way, be her guest. Riri, the ghosty girl, steals your body, steals the show. Klutzy and a little forgetful, but meeting her is unforgettable. She's a scream queen that can scare the soul, but guides all wandering souls back home. Give your mind, body, all and more to Riri, the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri, the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri, the ghosty girl. Just a normal day, or so we thought. Suddenly lost control, now you're caught. What is going on? Well, can't you see? You're under the control of Riri. The friendly neighborhood ghost is here to check in on all the lovely souls under her possession, hoping to give herself a taste of what it's like to be not as clumsy. The ghosty girl who goes to game. What she doing, what she playing. Everybody playing cool, it's the coolest of the ghouls. Strong will end, a lot of ambition. Can't see through them like apparitions. Determined to bring only the best. Get in the way, be her guest. Riri, the ghosty girl, steals your body, steals the show. Klutzy and a little forgetful, but meeting her.
Hi. Shit, I'm so sorry. I probably scared someone. Tina, thanks for the raid. If you're still there, I'm sure you're not. Hi guys. Give me a second to resume. We gotta. I've gotta fix some things. I gotta get Yuki out of the motherfucking way. Nothing new there. So hi Bubba. Yes, good boy. I love you. Oh, it was crazy. Oh shoot. Okay, hold on. Yuki just wants to help. He is not helping. No. Hello, Bubba. If you want to be up here. No. He says no. Yuki, hey. Yuki, over here, please. Yuki, no. I'm not gonna give you pets. No. No. Not right now. I say that, but Where? Here we go. Oh my god. Okay. Okay, Yuki. Okay, Yuki. Yes. Can we stay there? Can we be a chill guy? I don't know if Yuki has an ounce of chill in his motherfucking name. Okay, okay. And just like that, we're back. Oh my god, if someone talks to Tina, please tell her it's perfectly fine to raid while BRB, and I appreciate it. I do. Thank you guys for waiting around for me. Welcome in. If anyone's still here and doesn't know me, I'm YuureiRiri. You can call me Riri. I'm a variety screamer. Lately, we've been getting into a lot of Warhammer, and that is what we're checking out today. We all left? No, you didn't. Look, I see you right there, Ty Dog. But today I'm checking out some Warhammer fantasy lore about their mages, their houses of magic. I'm also going to be painting some minis this weekend, and yeah, that's about what we're about right now. I like to do co-working. I like to play Nikkei. Yeah, welcome in, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for waiting for me. We can go ahead and resume our fantastic video. What will you be painting? So my first models that I built are the Sisters of Battle, the Battle Sisters or whatever, and I am painting each one like a talent from Glitch Stars, because for anyone that doesn't know, I am a manager for Glitch Stars. Not a talent with Glitch Stars, but a manager. Still working. I haven't even finished one of them. I'm a bit of a perfectionist, and I've never painted a tiny little miniature. I paint my nails, but not miniatures. So yeah, okay, sorry, I'm trying to fix this so it doesn't fall. Okay. But yeah, let's resume the video. The Celestial College is where we're at.
Light up the smoke pipe, crack open some books with the boys, and have a nice conversation over how the stars and gods affect the mortal world. They aren't on the best terms with the followers of the god Mor, however. Mor's a Grim Reaper kind of god, but not a mean one, and he's also the god of dreams. Celestial
Wait, Mor sounds like a cool god.
Wizards can get visions in dreams, but oftentimes they force their future visions to happen. Some Mor cultists feel like getting visions through anything but dreams sent to you by Mor is super heresy and a sign of chaos corruption. But the Emperor isn't going to throw away foresight because a select group of priests have the ick, so they should be here to stay. The Celestial College, in summary, is the kind of organization that you're only seeing for either the most mundane of things or the most extreme of things. They're either politely asking you if you're free for afternoon tea this Thursday and to talk philosophy, or bursting your door down because in exactly 36 years, 18 weeks, and 9 days, Archaon is going to tear through Ostermark.
Oh my god. Okay, the Celestial College seems kind of cool. The Mor dude seems cool. But I guess now we'll check out the Light College. Yuki, you gotta move, bud. If you want to be up here, you gotta sit down. Please, Yuki. You gotta sit. Sit. You gotta lay down. You gotta lay down. Good boy. Thank you. Okay, the Light College.
The Light College is, of course, the one all about the lore of light. You will find all of these colleges are named quite aptly like this. Fun fact, the Light College doesn't have many of the trappings of the High Elves that founded it. For example, Light Wizards are called Hierophants and dress suspiciously close to how the Tomb Kings dress. Many of the buildings also look quite similar to the pyramids and ruins of ancient Nehekhara.
So the Light College has like a vaguely Egyptian kind of theme. Kind of cool. I like it.
Early on in the college's history, one of the patriarchs traveled to the land of the living dead to learn its secrets of light magic. Of course, some of the other buildings look like they're constructed out of pure light, so maybe the Forerunners gave Altdorf a visit one day. It tends to make people vaguely uncomfortable with the constant low chanting and incense burning everywhere. For all that it may be tedious, the Light College is very clearly a magical place. And that discomfort is without people knowing there's an entire building completely invisible to those that aren't mages. Their sacred symbol is the Serpent of Light, which somehow represents how they're the most learned of wizards. Maybe there's a myth somewhere explaining this reference, but the only one that comes to my mind is Adam and Eve, where the snake is Satan. Not the best look. For the average light acolyte.
Oh my god, Yuki! I love you so much, baby boy. But you gotta lay down. You can't be in the way. If you want to be up here, you have to lay down. You have to lay down. Lay down. I love you. Lay down. There you go, Bubba. Lay down. Yuki, please. Give him a box. No, he wants to be on my desk, being pet by my hands, which is fine if he would lay down. I will pet him if he will lay down. But he chooses to stand up and be directly in my face and block my phone. I do like the Egyptian wizard theme, though. It's pretty cool.
Though, life is anything but a magical Egyptian wonderland in biblical apples. Because the lore of light is such a pain to handle, their apprentices, called acolytes, are living the most boring lives imaginable to make things easier on their masters. Their tasks consist of lighting candles and incense and chanting in choirs. For some reason, this chanting helps more trained wizards effectively use light magic.
That sounds so boring. Oh my god.
Incidentally, this is the reason I've mentioned before that libraries hate these guys. Everywhere a Master of Light goes, they're followed by at least one chanting acolyte to help them channel the winds, and that gets really annoying after about 30 seconds tops. Unless your name is Max Schreiber, of course. Max Schreiber, being a character who has survived multiple Gotrek and Felix books, is simply built better than most everyone else and doesn't need the chanting help. Also, he was retconned from being a gold wizard, and also at one point he just started being an everything wizard when the end times were in full swing, but if anything, that just proves that even when the world is falling apart, Max is the GOAT.
Max is the GOAT. What's my husband's name? I want to say Tetanus. That's not right. Oh no. My husband, I think, is GOAT number 1. Max sounds like GOAT number 2. Yeah, Techlish. That one.
Most acolytes will remain as such for their entire lives. The intelligence and ability to truly get to grips with Heish requires the most constant studying and effort to achieve. Depending on how cynical you are, this is either because it's just that hard and you have to be truly great to master light, or because the master wizards want all the acolytes they can get and may not be teaching their underlings quite as well as they could be, so that sweet, sweet chanting continues.
Sounds vaguely cult-like a little bit, you know what I'm saying?
May become a senior acolyte and have some more glamorous responsibilities and duties, but not by much. As a consequence of this, nobles will rarely be found in this college. While having a magistrate in the family can be a source of power and prestige, snobby nobles are still snobby nobles and don't want to be caught doing such menial work. Among the lower classes, however, the promise of a guaranteed meal every day and training in something beyond surviving Altdorf gang warfare is an attractive prospect. The Light College will scour orphanages and lower class areas knowing this, searching for those with even the slightest bit of magical talent to recruit. They tend to prefer younger recruits, since children have much more flexible minds, and the White College wants to be able to mold their thought process to be able to handle the lore of Heish. If a Light Acolyte does manage to become a proper wizard, however, they're encouraged to get out in the Empire and learn about not only the world around them, but the dangers they face. This is known as a Wanderjahr, and there's no set amount of time for how long it takes. All that's really expected is that the wizard will learn what they want to do. This can be anything from losing yourself in magical theories, to combat the evils of the world, to becoming a battle wizard specializing against undead and demons, to specifically becoming an exorcist to drive out demons from the mortal world on a more personal scale. Their relations with other organizations are a bit all over the place.
That's cool. It's like they go on a quest. You know, they finish college. They become, I don't know, full-blown magistrate or whatever they're called. And then they get to go on the their journey to find themselves. Honestly, that's lit. Yeah, it's like a gap year for however long. Like however long it takes to get their shit together, they get to go on this journey. So it's like their actual school of magic is hell, but if you're one of the lucky ones, the talented ones, to become like the magistrate or whatever the fuck they're called, then you get to literally just go the fuck off and do whatever you want. Kind of great.
And not quite what you would expect. In spite of light wizards being all about purity, as is fitting for an order of exorcists in part, witch hunters still distrust them. In the mind of Sigmar's finest schizophrenics, the endless rants and questing to purge demons is all a cover for their truly heretical intentions, and there's...
Oh my god. It's just proof that if you're looking for it, you'll find proof anywhere, you know?
Some reason for them to believe this, unfortunately. Egrim van Horstman, a former patriarch of the Light College, was secretly a Tzeentch worshipper for some amount of time.
Oh, shit.
His final defection to becoming an outright Tzeentch champion caused tremendous damage and artifacts and secrets lost, both the Light College and the Empire in general. Once bitten, twice shy is a good way to describe witch hunters' relations with them, though to the credit of the college, the Light Wizards by and large are genuinely ashamed of not only Horstman, but themselves for not catching him in time. On the flip side, for the military at large, light wizards are quite a welcome sight. Though they may not be who you want first when facing orcs or dark elves, a light wizard banishing a bloodthirster with a flick of their wrist is the kind of skill you value highly as an Imperial commander, especially those stationed in the Northern Empire. And they're actually quite well liked by the High Elves, or at least tolerated more than other human wizards. Because the lore of light is such a bitch to get a handle on, Heish mages naturally spend a lot of time working on magical theory, much of which was written by elves. Elven mages see these humans as the closest to themselves and their views on magic, so they'll be more willing to talk shop and help rather than politely tell the silly humans that the real wizards are talking and they can go sit in the corner. Light wizards are in some way the most boring school. It's all chanting, patterns, and geometry, but it's boring in the sense that it's probably the least immediately fulfilling wizard to be. If you can master it, on the other hand, a light wizard can easily be one of the greatest assets the Empire has against the forces of chaos, and their rather active participation in the Empire compared to other colleges also means that if you want to do genuine good, a light wizard is one of the best occupations to have.
I was gonna say, like, that's what I was trying to explain earlier. Like, it seems really unfulfilling and atrocious, but if you're able to get to that level, yeah, it does sound like you can do a lot of good. You can do something that you want.
Supernatural threats abound in Warhammer, but the light of Heish will banish the darkness wherever these magistrates go.
The College of Shadow.
But where there is light, so too will there be darkness. Something poetry or whatever. I couldn't think of a better opening line. Grey wizards are not Gandalf, though they do tend to just suddenly show up in places like Gandalf has a habit of doing. Easily the most secretive of all the orders, as is fitting for those who practice shadow magic, Grey wizards are generally disliked by the common man and are often called trickster wizards. To be as fair as possible to said common man, their proclivity towards secrecy isn't the best look when it comes to how the average person views an organization of people who can obliterate all you know with a single spell. They rarely talk to outsiders. When they do, it's barely above a whisper, and to make matters worse, those who know of their headquarters know that it's a rundown building in the worst part of Altdorf with tunnels running under it. Those tunnels connect to the actual college, which is significantly more well-furnished, but also a secret magical college beneath everyone's feet. It may have false specters of demons and more hanging around it to scare people away, but that also might simply be hearsay that shadowmancers spread to keep people out. It all just screams, I have something to hide. Of course, as tends to be the case with the colleges, this fear is mostly unfounded. The symbol of the Grey College is the Sword of Judgment, equal parts threat and promise to those who would endanger the Empire of Man. That's why their magical arrow points down, you see. It's an almost literal sword of Damocles hanging over the heads of their enemies. Something else to keep in mind is that as practitioners of a lore based on a lot of deception, Grey Wizards are almost certainly not going to look like you think they would look like. They can oftentimes be found as diplomats and third-party mediators on anything from noble courts to sufficiently important mercantile deals, and just as often as not, you won't know they're a Grey Wizard. They can have dozens of false identities, they can be incredibly charismatic, they can damn well be your best friend, and if they don't want you to know they're a wizard, you won't.
They're like the rogues of the Mage College, the College of Magic. They're like, it's like the rogue class, but a mage. That's kind of cool.
in many ways has caused them to be a sort of secret police for the Empire, though not with quite as many bad connotations as the phrase secret police is probably putting in your mind. Much of what they do, for example, is dealing with rogue shadowmancers. Perhaps a Grey Wizard that went insane, or was just a bad egg, but equally as likely they're also dealing with untrained wizards using their powers poorly. And their secretive nature is more so for how they operate than the mysterious intentions they might have. For instance, there's countless pieces of code the college has that almost no one outside of it knows, and fewer than that truly know, because sometimes they'll leak false information to throw people off. This may sound like the Illuminati has horrible plans for your town if you can just figure it out, but if you ever did find out what's truly happening, you'll discover their plans were only to take down a vampire without anyone else knowing they were even there. That's what a lot of the secrecy is, combating threats no one knows about yet, and ideally will never know about. Kind of like...
I mean, that's kind of cool, though.
The SCP Foundation. Thanquol faced off against a Grey Wizard in one of his books, and while the guy is repeatedly described as absolutely terrifying and causing an aura of almost suffocating fear and darkness around him, he never actually does anything malicious. He could be callous and cruel and sees no problem sacrificing people to protect Altdorf, but his motives truly were to keep Altdorf safe from the threats, in this case the nonsense Thanquol was cooking up. He keeps people in the dark as much as he needs to, and tries to keep panic down and keep the Ratman's existence a secret. I know this is Warhammer, and giving an organization like this that much credit without saying they're evil for it may be stretching things a bit, but it does just seem like they're secretive by nature rather than because they have something to hide. Plus, the wind of magic you're most attuned to influences you as a person. Is it really that big of a surprise that a Grey Wizard, someone who's intimately attached to the lore of shadows, is going to be a secretive fella? They're at least loyal enough to be loyal to the Empire rather than the Emperor, and because a big part of their training is being taught that their order is sworn to protect the Empire, they by and large can be expected to always act in its defense.
They sound like they're so misunderstood, you know? Fun fact, Grey Wizards take a vow of celibacy, really? Yeah, they seem just misunderstood, you know?
Their training, it's usually a very personal affair between a master and their apprentice. Grey Wizards rarely spend time at the Grey College, which incidentally makes it the smallest building by far, and instead they wander the Empire, keeping it safe. As a Grey Wizard finds and teaches their apprentice, most masters' lessons tend to be practical in nature. While they are wizards and thus spend at least some amount of time talking philosophy and the nature of magic, they're also the secret magical police. They got practical things to learn first. They're also kind of like the Rangers from the Ranger's Apprentice series, which incidentally, God, those books were amazing to read as a kid. A master will teach his apprentice the necessity of staying hidden in their tasks, how to properly handle the lore, of course, and likely plenty about the general politics of both the areas they travel through and the Empire as a whole. But this isn't the Celestial College. Lengthy debates about the heavens and man's place in them aren't what we're here for. It's also drilled into an apprentice that though they can and almost certainly will act as an advisor for a court in some capacity, positions of power are not theirs to take. These positions not only bind them down and prevent them from traveling the Empire, but can also be a source of temptation to shirk their duties in favor of money and personal power. Wizards who abuse their power like this, or in other means, tend to get black-bagged by the rest of the Shadow Wizards without a trace.
Honestly, they've won me over. The Shadow Wizards seem kind of cool.
Master Wizard finally decides his apprentice is ready, they will head to the Shadow College headquarters building in what is likely the first time the apprentice will ever have seen it, despite years of being an apprentice. They'll then be tested rigorously for weeks to see if they have not only the knowledge and skill, but the attitude a Grey Wizard should have. If they pass, congratulations, you're a licensed member of the Shadow Wizard Money Gang. If they don't pass, they send them on their way, presumably keeping an eye on them in case they act up, but they don't kill them outright. That's good. From there, the new Shadow Wizard will do as they did on their journey with their master, wandering the Empire to safeguard it from threats. Usually alone, sometimes with a few other Shadowmancers backing them up. Their relationship with the common man is scuffed, like I said, but they do have some friends in high places. Soldiers and spy networks in particular like Shadow Wizards. For spies, the reason is obvious. It's because few people make better spies than someone who can turn invisible. For soldiers, they may still be wary of them, but suddenly having a comprehensive report of enemy troop movements, army compositions, and more dropped in your lap makes a military engagement go so much smoother. The Cult of Arena
yeah, that's fair.
Dislikes them, but unlike the Light College where they're despised because of the constant chanting ruining the quiet, they dislike the Grey College because of the secrecy. Verena is in part a goddess of truth, and obfuscating that truth is therefore anathema to her worshippers. Plus, while Grey Wizards do seek justice, they tend to do it in a subtle and long-term way that the Verena worshippers think is far too indirect. They don't want to be pussyfooting about with shadow games. They want the guy who committed to injustice to be punished for it immediately. There's also the Skaven. The Grey College on the surface does some things that sound quite heretical. They keep the Skaven's existence a secret and may even help them on some
what is that about? I mean, I guess he's about to explain it, but
of their missions. However, this is only because it's easier to spy on the rats when they're emboldened. Striking out at a Skaven lair immediately may destroy it, but the rest of the rats will scurry deeper underground. While this has almost certainly led to some loss of life, it also means that the Skaven's final schemes and plots can be dealt with before the ratmen strike a finishing blow. Like I said earlier, I don't think they're truly evil with this, but it does open the discussion of whether or not the ends justify the means.
it's like, do you save the few and sacrifice the many, or sacrifice the few to save the many kind of thing?
Also, there's a ritual the Skaven perform every year using grey magic to cloud mankind's minds from their existence. The Grey College is interested in this not only because it's Skaven shenanigans, but because they feel that kind of magic can be useful in the right hands. Depending on how widespread that belief is and what they plan to do with the magic if they can master it, them being the true sinister secret police may be a bit more apt than I first said it was. One final thing to note is that while not the most destructive, I would bet on Grey Wizards being the worst thing to fight, because aside from being wizards and therefore powerful, they're all at least decently trained with a sword. And while the most common spells they can cast are things like disappearing into shadow and general cloaking stuff, they can also do things like casting daggers made of pure darkness that can pierce armor, or tendrils of shadows to bind and choke their foes with. If you've ever fought against Sister Frida in Dark Souls 3, I imagine it's like that. You start fighting and oh, the dickhead's invisible. They suddenly appear with a sword swinging for your head, but that was apparently a feint or an outright illusion. Then you notice a particular corner of the room that's darker than the rest, but are they actually hiding there, or did they just make it darker to throw you off their actual spot? Now imagine this. Light wizards can make you go faster with their magic. A light wizard casts Barona's Time Warp on a grey wizard, and suddenly you've gone from fighting a wizard to fighting an invisible, teleporting General Grievous with access to the Force.
Oh my god. Okay, I didn't know if I would buy into like a shadow mage, a gray mage being the worst one to fight, but after that description, yeah. The trickery, the fuckery. Yeah, I feel like that would be a lot to deal with, you know? They do seem pretty cool though. I like them. I wouldn't judge a book by its cover.
Phrasing it any other way than the Amethyst College is brutal as hell, isn't it? Also, in the ebook version of the Winds of Magic roleplay supplement, the College of Death section starts on page 115. Does this mean that the entire Amethyst College is simply a COD Zombies reference? Yes, but there's also more to them than that.
Why?
The College of Death is by and large a grim thing, even down to their imagery and symbol, which is of course a scythe. Death wizards are adorned with skulls, their staff is oftentimes also a scythe, and they're oftentimes carrying hourglasses and roses with them, because you will recognize them as experts in the field of death, goddammit. They're typically grim and near emotionless folk, as their attunement to the flow of death means they have a hard time forming attachments. In fact, the distrust and distance other people give them is generally returned by the purple wizards. On the average person's end, they're death wizards. That is a reasonable person to be wary of, in my opinion. They also become sickly and frail, if not in outright physicality, then at least in their appearance. On the Amethyst wizard's end, they're constantly surrounded by something called death magic, and they can not only see the flow of time, which naturally involves a lot of death, but can oftentimes see a person's corpse hanging around their still living selves.
Whoa, that would be some major ass fuckery. That's enough to drive anyone crazy if you see their like dead, withery skeleton corpse hanging around their current living self. I mean, it sounds fucking metal, but but also you'd have to be very strong you'd have to have good mental fortitude to see stuff like that, I think.
So it's hard to blame them for having issues forming attachments to people.
Hi, sweetheart.
That was 10, right?
I love that we get to hear alerts and not watch them.
Like I said, it still doesn't bother me. How moist is moist though? It's very moist.
I'm hearing an echo. I fucked something up, I think, with my alerts. Oh well. Hello, hi, how are you? Thank you for the raid. Welcome in, everybody. Hi, guys. Hi. If you guys do not know me, I'm YuureiRiri. You can call me Riri. I'm a variety screamer. Lately, we've been getting into Warhammer. I've been doing some miniature building, some miniature painting. Right now, I'm learning about Warhammer fantasy lore, the College of Mages, so the different colleges of mages. We're just talking about it, hanging out, yapping while we learn about them. You're good? I'm glad to hear it. Yeah, I'm good too. I can't complain too much. There's always things to complain about, but you know what? I'm here. You're here, so we're doing good. I appreciate the raid though, Heart. If you need to go eat dinner or whatever, please do. Take care of yourself. But it's good to see you. I appreciate it. Yeah. Well, that's what we're doing. We're learning about Warhammer Fantasy Wizards. Are you painting? Not today. My plan is to paint Saturday morning and do a painting stream Saturday morning. I have a Friendsgiving. So my plan is to like wake up early enough and do like painting for, I don't know, like 5 hours in the morning. Wait. Yeah, if I wake up before 8 and like if I start stream at 8, then I could paint for like 5 hours. Yeah, enjoy your food. But yeah, we'll see. But I'm painting, my current project is that I'm painting the Battle Sisters that I built on stream. I'm painting them. Each one is themed like a talent from Glitch Stars because I am a manager for Glitch Stars. And so I thought it would be fun, a fun little project to like paint each one like themed after one of the talents. So I was in art and I do all my own nail art, but I was never much of a painter, so I've only barely started. My very first model I started. But yeah, welcome in, guys. I'm gonna resume the video and yap about it and react to it. So feel free to hang out and learn with me. If you don't know anything about Warhammer, that's okay. I'm learning, so you're in a good spot for that. I'm also live on YouTube if you prefer YouTube or you'd like to watch some past VODs of other things I've done or edited videos. But Warhammer Fantasy is like the fantasy world of Warhammer. So that's what we're learning about today. On that note, I'm going to continue the video. We just started learning about the Death College.
People. In spite of all this, the College of Death is just as devoted to the Empire as any other organization. They're a fairly egalitarian college of magic at that, too, with everyone from commoners to the highest of nobles found in their ranks. It makes sense. It doesn't really matter how rich or poor you are, a vision of everyone around you decaying into nothingness before reality pops back to normal is gonna change your outlook on life no matter your bank account
that's what I'm
balance.
saying.
Though their college building is far more centralized and active than the Grey College, it isn't exactly Party Town, USA. Most often, Amethyst Wizards work alone, with perhaps a few apprentices or colleagues at most, and when they can help it, they generally try to withdraw from the world. As you might expect, however, they can rarely help it for long in this way. As the Light College is the chief expert at fighting chaos, so too does the Amethyst College fight the undead. The Von Karsteins have made themselves just as great a threat as any ever chosen on a number of occasions, and while not necromancers, death mages can exert some amount of control over the dead. That and more mundane threats oftentimes take up what free time they may have. A wizard can straight up ask a dude who got murdered who murdered him, after all, is an invaluable investigator. Though it's not outright said in official lore, I imagine that no small amount of schemes and plots against the Empire were initially discovered by death wizards.
Dude, that's sick. They can talk to the dead? They could, like, just ask them who killed you, what happened? That's incredible. Although I guess it would suck if they, like, were lying, right? Or corrupt in some way.
Someone might get murdered in a particularly gruesome way, a death mage is called in to commune with their spirit, and now a plot by Chaos, the undead, or whoever else is discovered, and the most well-equipped people can thus be sent out to deal with it. Thus, much like light and shadow wizards, the magisters of the College of Death frequently travel the Empire, seeking out and destroying threats that may arise as they go. They are a decently philosophical bunch if you can get them talking, but as you would expect, they're going to be discussing things that are a bit morbid. Surprisingly, though, they'll oftentimes be found in the company of people that couldn't be any more cheerful if they tried. Amethyst wizards are garbage at socializing, but
I was gonna say they're like introverts. I guess they want to stay away from people so they don't have to, like, I don't know, like if you can see their death and stuff, it probably makes it difficult to like form relationships, right? And like be friendly with people and friends with people. So they just don't go around people. So now they're all introverts. You know? Kind of makes sense.
if they can find someone who isn't that can also tolerate their constant emo attitude, then that person can do all the talking. In another surprise, the college as a whole has a great friendship with the College of Life, which is logical if you think about it. They aren't necromancers, they aren't tampering with the order of things. Their magical schools even flow into each other to some extent, with life naturally dying and its remains feeding new life. And if nothing else, death wizards only really get called in when something is dead or undead, and life wizards when something is properly alive. They have such different spheres that they'll oftentimes work together to get a picture of the whole story of an event. Unfortunately, the priests of Moor aren't the biggest fans of the Amethyst College. While Amethyst mages abhor necromancy and destroy it on sight, the cult of Moor by and large sees the entire school of magic as thinly disguised necromancy, and death mages at best as ignorant, and at worst, necromancers in disguise. It really is unfortunate too, because much like the Light College with witch hunters, the Death College is so eager to prove this isn't the case that they'll oftentimes invite priests of Moor into proceedings where they try necromancers or death mages who've crossed some sort of line. This makes priests of Moor think that if they're so eager to prove their innocence, they must be hiding something. There's even a few subsects of Moor worshippers that'll hunt death wizards on sight. The college building itself is kind of funny though. If you aren't invited in, it's like a haunted house. The entire thing looks more like a mausoleum than anything, and while the doors are open 24/7, anyone who enters without invitation is only going to see the occasional rat, the less occasional dead rat, and cobwebs everywhere. Almost no one is ever seen coming or going, and there's tales of Altdorf children going in on a dare only to be met with an atmosphere like a horror movie before the jump scare. If you're an Amethyst mage or an invited guest, however, it's still morbid, but in a more Addams Family kind of way. Although it is dark oak, the candles may be dim, but they're lit at regular intervals, so it isn't like the mages live in darkness. It's somber looking, but still clearly inhabited, and if you don't mind a less lively atmosphere, it's pretty homey. There's even well-maintained shrines to Moor all over the place, proving that in spite of the appearances, death wizards do respect the god and aren't necromancers. The whole thing also makes me think that on occasion a death wizard sees some dumb teen sneaking in on a bet, quietly watching them freak out as the atmosphere and illusions get to them, and then chuckling as they run off screaming. Of course, it does still have some truly spooky things about it. The entire college almost seems like it keeps inhabitants from talking above a whisper, and there's rumors that sometimes the entire thing will briefly phase out of reality from the concentration of death magic. There's even some people who think that Shyish itself may do this based on the intent of visitors, and if you bring bad vibes, the building's gonna phase out. No one likes to discuss this possibility, though. The thought that Shyish as a wind of magic is sentient and doing this on purpose lends some awkward questions about its intentions or potential personality. And of course, if it isn't Shyish, but someone connected to Shyish of sufficient power doing it, that raises even more awkward questions. It could be Moor throwing them a bone, which would be nice, but it could also be Nagash scheming in some way.
Wait, so is Shyish? Is Shyish the someone important to the Death College? I feel like I don't remember hearing that name. But I don't know. Maybe I just forgot. But okay, I mean, they're kind of cool. I'm kind of surprised. I would have thought Shyish is the name of the Wind of Death. Okay. Thank you. I would have thought that the College of Death was more secretive than the College of Darkness, but I guess they are in their own way. They're just loners, that's how. I don't know. So far, they all seem really cool. Like, it's hard to pick a favorite. Literally, nobody asked me to pick a favorite. It's just me trying to pick a favorite. Okay, College of Fire. College of Fire.
Bright Wizards are, though, a bit unoriginally named, those fine types of folk that populate the College of Fire. They're hustling a bit into the College of Light's gig with a name, but what is fire if not bright? The Bright College building is honestly nothing too special, at least in outward appearances. It's just a big brick building. Have you ever made a completely square brick house in Minecraft? Because from my understanding of how it's described, that's basically their college grounds.
Oh my
Surrounding
god.
the college, however, is a vast amount of burned out streets and buildings. Naturally, the Bright College denies they have anything to do with this, because such a thing must surely be either coincidence or sabotage designed to make them look bad. Yeah, alright buddy, I'm not giving you the same benefit of the doubt I gave the Grey Wizards and Death Wizards. They're denying that they're evil incarnate. The Bright College is denying some drunken apprentice lit half of Altdorf on fire. A brick wall with wrought iron gates and railing.
Oh, duh. Now it makes sense. That's why it's a brick building. They're gonna have an apprentice accidentally set shit on fire everywhere. So no wood allowed, only brick and metal. The rats don't care. We attack them from below and killing in the name of the horned rat. If you need someone to ask you to pick a if you need someone to ask you to pick a favorite because you want to pick a favorite, I'll ask you to pick a favorite. Yeah, I think as a family, a chat as a whole, we should all pick a favorite College of Magic once the video's done. But I'm already struggling. The first 3 really caught my eye. The light and shadow. Wasn't there another one? I've already forgotten. The Bright College is so unpleasant to be a student or apprentice in that all of the doors and gates lock from the outside. Why is that? Why do they lock from the outside?
Surrounds it, and 6 towers constantly spew flame and smoke into the sky. Sometimes the gargoyles on some of the buildings will randomly spew lava, for reasons relating to something. There's receptacles they pour into, so it isn't just a rampant hazard, but unless I miss something, the supplement doesn't describe what happens to it, or why it happens. Maybe they turned it into obsidian, which has anti-magical uses. Maybe it disappears. Maybe it's venting excess Akshi energy so that Altdorf doesn't explode. Or maybe it just happens. Regardless, all of the grounds are suffocatingly hot, but for those used to it, it's simply very hot. In spite of the almost certainly constant cases of arson that surround it, however, it really isn't a bad place. A bit uncomfortably warm and smoggy, but not hostile. Just hot. The symbol of the Bright College is the key of secrets. Contrary to what you might expect from these literal hotheads, the Bright College is actually a fairly learned order. There's 8 ranks to the college, and passing to the next one involves passing through an ornamental gate, each more glorious than the last. They often carry keys on them as symbols of their knowledge, as well as chains, since to them, the power of a wizard comes with equal responsibility and all that Uncle Ben crap. While they are all
I do like the aesthetics of the chains with the keys. That's pretty cool. I can't lie. I mean, I might not be interested in fire magic, but the aesthetics are on point. So the students can't get out without a registered magistrate. Oh, I see. Damn, that's kind of fucked though.
about fire, they spend just as much time in a library poring over ancient tomes and writing new research paper as any other lore. These are not stupid people. All magic in Warhammer is dangerous and requires knowledge and control. The Bright College knows this well. They can be as fiercely intelligent and proud of their research paper as any lighter celestial mage is. The inside of their laboratories, in fact, look closer to modern scientific labs than anything. Protective glass and metal all over the place. Granted, things like germ theory have nothing to do with this, and instead it's all about not setting their surroundings on fire, but the look is still quite scientific. Of course, these are still firebenders. They often joke in the same way that knowledge is the key to power, their power is a key to all doors. Letting loose with a magical flamethrower is as destructive as you might imagine, and few, if any, pyromancers in this setting haven't burned down at least part of a building on accident. They're a very passionate people, and their tempers can run metaphorically and literally hot, as the lure of fire can also stoke the flames of their tempers. Fire mages have an earned reputation of of being quick to anger, and the Winds of Magic roleplay supplement even mentions how the recommended patron ends his nights on the town with a fist fight as often as not. Pyromancers know all this, though. They know they're angry people. They know that a facet of reality itself makes them angry people. They know this, and they take it into account with their training. A fire apprentice starts their career by shoveling coal into furnaces, cleaning soot off walls, all sorts of mundane tasks like that. This is to teach them humility and patience. Obviously, it also lets the masters not have to do any of that menial crap, but also humility and patience. Because the mundane tasks they're doing are also highly labor-intensive, it also tires them out, encouraging them to spend time resting and relaxing. Burning the candle at both ends is bad for anyone, and doubly so for a wizard who can light a house on fire at both ends if their focus wavers from exhaustion. So,
I mean, honestly, it makes total sense. And it kind of feels like a win-win situation all around, you know? Like, it's, I feel like, you know, hotheads, like, people who are really, I don't know, quick to anger. Like, one thing that helps, or I guess really emotional people in general, but people that are quick to anger, like, something that can help is, like, working off, like, physical labor, moving your body to kind of, like, work through the emotion or, like, work out the anger. So it kind of makes sense, like, hotheads, you know, fire wizards would do these, like, laborious things and then also, like, rest and relax. I don't know. I kind of dig it.
as silly as it sounds, teaching any workaholic apprentices how to take a break is a vital lesson. Plus, the Bright College is like the Jedi Order if they weren't a bunch of repressed shut-ins who think they have a right to dictate galactic politics. I'm gonna salt you like the slug you are, Gert. Just wait for it. But back to the point, Bright Wizards learn to control their emotions and prevent them from getting out of hand, but they also teach that these emotions are in fact a source of fuel for their flames. Great care is made to teach apprentices not to be consumed by their emotions, but blocking them out isn't helpful at all. Anger can get you killed if you let it take control of you, but getting angry is not only natural for these wizards, but it actively fuels their powers. They're allowed and even encouraged, at least as apprentices, to mingle with the outside world. Go get drunk in Altdorf. Hell, you're allowed to have a special someone. This kind of thing tapers off as they get older, but the vibe I get from it isn't some kind of attachments lead to tragedy nonsense. It's just the expectation that, hey, you're like 30 now, dude. You can't spend every day of the week in a drunken stupor. You gotta do something productive. Would you look at that? It's almost like the halfway point between a Jedi and a Sith as a person with a healthy emotional spectrum. While the Bright College does have a lot of things going on behind the scenes, the obvious thing you can think of them doing in Warhammer is spot on. At the Bright College grounds, most apprentices are trained with a military career in mind. While some get other training if they show aptitude, because even the pyromaniacs need someone to deliver messages and run archaeological digs, most of them are headed for the state troops as an attached mage. This not only makes the best use out of their powers, Warhammer being a war game setting and all, but has unfortunately caused this college to have the highest casualty rate for apprentices out of all of them. Troops tend to
Well, somehow I feel like it does make sense.
be wary of a new, untested fire wizard joining their ranks. Unlike other cases, it isn't strictly speaking because they're a wizard and a potential heretic for it. The army is actually quite fond of bright wizards. It's more so because they're being chained to someone barely 18 years old and being told this untested and only partially trained pyromaniac is going to be standing behind them in the spear line. I would also be a bit nervous at that prospect.
Yeah, that's fair. I wouldn't want that either. I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna get my fucking head burned off, bro.
As a result, the Bright College tends to tell aspirants on their first assignment with the army to go nuts. Fling whatever spells you can think of, take on any missions you can, make a good first impression no matter what. But if they make it, they can either join up with a regiment as their career, become an advisor to a high-ranking general if they're good enough, or even be allowed more or less free reign to wander the Empire to benefit both it and the Bright College. And it's not like they need much in the way of security. Being able to light someone on fire with a thought keeps most Bright mages secure in their travels. As I said, the Bright College has great relations with the Imperial military. Firestorm is a wonderful spell to have cast on the orcs that are bothering you, and since their training involves military knowledge and whatnot, they make good advisors. It sometimes gets to a point that a bright wizard will have a conflict of interest between a regiment they fought with for 30 years and the college itself. Any soldier worth their salt will be happy to have a bright wizard by their side, as long as they're reasonably tested and proven, of course. On the flip side, they've not got the best relationship with the Nuln Engineering School. The Bright College, as with all the others, is is located in Altdorf, and as such is closer to the Emperor in politics than Nuln is. Since exploding things with fire and exploding them with gunfire are functionally not that different from one another, they also see the Bright College as muscling in on their territory. They also often think that Bright Wizards are needlessly dangerous alternatives to a service they can provide just as well. Of course, a cannon misfiring kills the operators, but a wizard misfiring can kill everyone in a 3-mile radius. The Bright College, even when not with the military, can be found intermingling with all aspects of the Empire. Since they're not told to keep their emotions repressed until they literally explode, they interact with the common man plenty. Wealthy people can hire them as bodyguards, they're versed in magical lore, so scientists and philosophers alike can hang with them. They're definitely one of the more social orders, and while they aren't who you call when it's time to investigate a murder or something else subtle, they may be who you call when it turns out the murder was done by a vampire or chaos lord.
Yeah, you know, again, we started off with this college, and I was like, I don't think I'm not interested. But as we go along, they're cooler and cooler. Like, I do like that they are, you know, a bit more social. They're allowed to have emotions, express themselves, you know? I don't know. I'm intrigued.
Light magic may banish the influence of chaos, and death magic may put vampires back to rest, but fire magic solves all problems if you throw enough of it at them.
Does it?
Beast magic is wild magic. It don't like cities one bit. As a result, the College of...
Wait, what was that? College of Beasts.
Beast magic is wild magic. It don't like cities one bit. As a result, the College of Beasts doesn't actually have a building with an Altdorf like the rest of them. Instead, they have a grouping of several caves in a rocky, heavily wooded area that isn't really conducive to farming or anything properly civilized. Smaller enclaves like this dot the land, and it's in these places that the true College of Beasts can be found. Like the rest of the colleges, their symbol is a stylized arrow. Unlike the rest of the colleges, I've just lied to you, because there is nothing stylistic about this arrow. It's just an arrow, because they live off the land and all that shit. Amber wizards tend to look halfway between a hunter living the Alaskan wilderness and someone who's never had a change of clothes in their life.
Oh my god. That's pretty funny.
They're upfront, prefer to solve things directly, and won't back down from their beliefs as a rule of thumb. Fitting for the wild animal school of magic. Though they are solitary by virtue of feeling most at home in the wilderness, they don't hate other people. They aren't even like death mages, where their magic makes them despise other people for reasons beyond their control. The reason they mostly hang out with each other is only because they've got similar interests, hanging out in the wild and probably smoking a whole lot of pot to pass the time.
They would be the pothead wizards.
Between them being wizards and wizards of the savage school of magic at that, there's rumors amongst the common man that the Amber College likes to steal babies to turn into wizards. Like John Marston accusing Bigfoot of eating babies in Undead Nightmare. In reality, they just ask the parents. If they find a kid who's magically inclined, they'll try to come to an agreement on the matter. I would bet this rumor almost certainly originated in Stirland, as 90% of moronic superstition in the Empire does. Some potential Amber mages also just feel the call of the wild and wander nature until they find an Amber mage and take them on as an apprentice. Or perhaps, more likely, they become a Beastman sandwich. If they do find one, then hey, the survival rate shoots up and they're likely to become a proper Amber wizard. Life as an Amber apprentice or even a full-blown wizard is hard, but not really because of any particular facet of their magic. They may have issues controlling it, but that stuff is common amongst all Warhammer mages. Their issues come from the fact that they live in the wilderness, which aside from bears and all that crap, there's also said aforementioned beastmen looking to make them into said aforementioned sandwiches. I'd bet good money that Amber Wizards are the group in Warhammer Fantasy that most often run into beastmen. They of course also lack heating, medicine, and all the other modern stuff we take for granted, although given that fantasy was just getting out of the leeches and humors method of medicine, maybe that one being absent isn't too bad. Well,
I wasn't even thinking about that, like them being like wandering the forest and stuff. Yeah, of course. Of course they're not gonna have all that kind of stuff. If they're just like in the forest. Huh.
Much as they do have a reputation for being savage animals, though, and as much as the Wind of Gur does cause them to take on animalistic aspects in some ways, a lot of it is them doing it on purpose. They tend to just not like the city or city dwellers, so they pretend to be barely sapient cavemen in the hopes you'll piss off and leave them alone. They can be great friends, and the common trait they have of being steadfast and blunt means they'll be strong allies if you can cozy up to one. And they still do magical research, they still have tomes of magic and all that jazz, they just happen to live in a cave. And unlike the rest of the colleges, who usually have someone that hates their guts, they don't really have anyone particularly out to get them. They're friends with the Jade College, and indeed, since Amber Wizards are rarely in Altdorf, the Jade will often advocate on the Amber's behalf. They're also close with the cult of Tal, which, since he's a god of nature, makes plenty of sense. They're even close with the Aenir elves who live in Lorelorn Forest in the Empire, because they're so close to proper nature, like what Wood Elves like. The College of Beasts doesn't really have too much going for it as an organization. That's because it doesn't really need any of that stuff.
I was gonna say, it doesn't really sound like it's very organized, though, because if they're all like kind of wandering solo looking for each other and all that shit, then I don't know. They just don't sound very organized.
It's an organization all about being wild men who cast wild magic. They still do all the standard wizard stuff. They're still incredibly powerful mages. Don't underestimate them and assume an amber mage is an idiot. They'll turn you into a wild animal and sick their hunting dogs on you while they discuss the finer points of magical theory over a campfire.
Right, because they're still educated. Like a college of life.
The College of Jade is all about the lore of life, but that doesn't mean they're hippies. Not just hippies, anyways. Their symbol is called the Coil of Life, and it looks like a crop circle with a line coming out of it. They carry staves that are basically just trees, and a sickle as a badge of office. Copper for apprentices, silver for licensed magistrates, and gold for the senior druids. Much like the College of Beasts, the Jade College has numerous little enclaves and groves throughout the Empire that they feel truly connected to their power with, and they will do much of their work at these sites. Unlike the Amber College, they have a proper building in Altdorf, and they don't spaz out when they have to be in a city for longer than 5 minutes.
Yeah, I wouldn't fit in with the College of Beastmen. I mean, the College Beast. So they're definitely not my favorite, but you know. Old Amber Wizards don't change from their beast forms. Sometimes Amber students follow around actual normal animals accidentally or get tricked and eaten by spirits. Oh, because they think it's like an older Amber Wizard. That's kind of a cool touch, though.
The Jade College is a bit of an overlooked one. While they certainly have their uses, they do often feel unappreciated, especially by the military. The Wind of Gyron could feed an army eternally and hide all their movements as the earth itself reshapes around their tracks to hide them. Unfortunately, Fireball is a much more satisfying end to a problem, so the Jade College has yet to see much glory amongst the state troopers of the Empire. The college building itself looks like those parts of the American South where the entire natural environment has been covered in kudzu, although less ugly than those places. The bricks are green, and every kind of plant from fruits and vegetables to flowers and trees and more can be found here. At the center of the grounds is an oak tree so massive the hollowed-out trunk is the library for the entire college, and it...
Well, that's a cool visual. Imagine a whole-ass tree being hollowed out, and that's your library. First of all, the tree would be huge, and second of all, it would be so aesthetic.
Really gives off Garden of Eden vibes. There may even be plant automata tending to the menial tasks around the college, though that's never been quite confirmed. They do frequently leave the college to wander the Empire, though in what capacity they help varies from wizard to wizard. See, on one hand, Jade Wizards wandering around will usually at least lend a bit of a helping hand to those they come across, tending to the sick and injured, growing crops when the harvest is bad, that kind of feel-good stuff. On the other hand, the college as an organization really only officially responds to those kinds of requests if it's either a catastrophic disaster or magical in nature. Aside from the pride hit of being turned into a glorified gardener, responding to every request from Farmer Brown because he only grew 99% of his usual harvest means they can't respond to truly pressing issues. The Jade College isn't usually at full capacity, but at least once a year at the end of summer, most Jade Wizards return to the main college to gather and talk shop. The college itself, much like the power of life, waxes and wanes with the seasons. Come spring and summer, everyone is in bright spirits and the building is more vibrant than anything else in the Empire. Come fall and winter, it's somber and sad looking. Aside from the Amber College,
I like winter and fall aesthetics, though. I feel personally targeted by that. There's something really beautiful about it, no? I don't know. I think so.
Jade Wizards have a pretty good relationship with the various unlicensed head witches across the Empire. They're usually kind-hearted folk, and they tend to do what they can to help those who aren't officially licensed. This can be helping them become licensed wizards to perhaps more illegal things like hiding their existence or activities. They don't have the best of relations with the cult of Raya, however, surprisingly, since she's a nature goddess. As Raya's worshippers see it, at best Jade mages are cheating. They're skipping steps to do things right and properly. At worst, it's more of the standard, all wizardry is evil, you aren't using god magic and therefore you're evil rhetoric. This isn't true, at least in my opinion, though I will admit that a life wizard that gets turned into a chaos spawn due to a miscast is probably one of the most unsettling things you could possibly see in all of Warhammer. Unlike Amber Mages, Emerald Mages aren't actually that close to the elves of Lorelorn Forest. Yes, there's all that sweet mystical wood elf knowledge to get, but the Jade College apparently doesn't have the discount the Beast College does, and the price they pay for that knowledge tends to be a bit too steep. Presumably, yes, this price is insanity in lives, but given that the Eonir are traded with the Empire, it could also be possible they're just asking for an absolutely insane amount of gold, which would be funny. Jade College is overall a bit simple, but to avoid dismissing them like the military does, I will say they're easily the wizard group most liked by the common man. If a Jade Wizard comes by, your average subsistence farmer suddenly has enough food to actually make a decent profit after his lord takes their share. Plagues can be cured, injuries healed, and while it's certainly
This makes sense though, because it like has the most direct noticeable impact. So of course, you know, the common man would like them because they solve the problems that you can see, you know, that affect you most directly in your vision, you know? Cottagecore. You're not annoying. No, you're not annoying with your facts at all. I love them. The wind of life can get anything pregnant, actually? Huh.
isn't the most flashy lore amongst human mages, they're still a welcome sight among most of the Empire's common people. More so than other wizards anyway, because at least a Jade Wizard miscasting isn't obliterating your entire neighborhood in nuclear hellfire.
That's true.
You just might become pregnant, regardless of the equipment you got down there.
Oh. Oh, that's what you mean. They get anything pregnant, and it sounds like by accident. Oh, they are the College of Life, right? I guess this makes sense. Okay. College of Metal.
I am once again here to remind you that you should join the military-industrial complex. The official symbol of the Gold College is an eagle, viewed as a sign of nobility, much like it is amongst the High Elves who taught these colleges. Unofficially, the symbol of the College of Common is the firearm pointed at the head of whoever bothers the Empire on a given day. Sometimes there is no magic involved here, they're just going to shoot you. Unlike all the other college buildings, the College of Metal's headquarters doesn't really have any illusions around it. It's completely visible for all to see. No invisibility, no tricks of the light or pieces of debris flying at the perfect time to conceal it. It's there for all to see in all its gold-plated, tacky glory. Still, like the rest, however, no one really goes near it. This isn't because it's a dangerous magical school, though it is, but more to do with the fact it's constantly belching smoke into the air, it reeks like sulfur at the best of times, and explosions are a regular thing. It pollutes the River Reich with reagents sometimes mundane, sometimes magical, and while the college swears it isn't harmful to life, do you really want to test that theory by taking a drink from the river? Although I guess it is funny.
No, I don't. But you'd think one of the colleges would be able to, like, purify it, you know? Mpreg is real!
That the Empire of Man is getting a jump start on BP oil spills a few thousand years early. Gold Wizards tend to be unbearably arrogant, further driving some people away. Balthasar Gelt may be supreme, but he is not the only gold wizard to think that they're supreme. Not by a long shot. Some of this is because of the scientific nature of their work, and them being accomplished in both the magical and mundane fields. Gold wizards spend much of their time practicing alchemy and scientific research in addition to more outright magical things. And when I say alchemy, that can be the magical kind, but also what's essentially chemistry. While there wasn't much I could find on the specifics of an apprentice gold mage's day-to-day life and career path, if I had to hazard a guess, I'd say they're a cross cross between interns and student teachers. They watch their masters perform the intense science and magic that goes into these things, eventually being allowed more responsibilities under supervision before finally being allowed to do their own thing. At the very least, they do have large lecture halls and experimentation labs for student alchemists, as Balthasar Geltzlor makes mention of him being popular with the apprentices for his amazing oratory skills and passion. To get the magical stuff out of the way first, they do engage in
something about him makes me think that he's like, I was a big Harry Potter kid growing up. I read the books a lot. You guys know, Gilderoy Lockhart? Given his, like, jawline and how he's, like, cocky and he's like, yeah, the students love me and this and that. He gives me Gilderoy Lockhart vibes. I'm pretty sure that was his name.
Fantastical research like all the rest. The most out there thing they're looking for is called spiritual alkahest. Alkahest was an actual theorized thing that could dissolve anything into its component parts without degrading them in the slightest. Spiritual alkahest is the Gold College attempting to use common to purify the taint of chaos from people, be they lowly mutants all the way up to chaos lords and champions. The Gold College is not just a weapons foundry. They are searching for solutions to major problems the Empire faces that pure material science can't deal with. That being said, boy do they love their weapons R&D. These guys are best friends with the engineering college in Nuln, because remember, sometimes the alchemy they're using is really just chemistry with fancier looking labs. Making more powerful weapons, be it through better gunpowder, lenses that can see farther and clearer, or new alloys to forge into war machines are all common things in the College of Gold. The smog hanging around isn't just for decoration, and it also probably isn't just smog. The stench and smoke of gunpowder blankets the air, and for every war machine that comes out of Nuln, there's pretty good odds the Gold College had a hand in it at some level of design and manufacture. The reason they get along with the engineers of Nuln, but the Fire College doesn't, is because the Gold College is very scientific in nature.
I was wondering that, so I'm glad he touched on it, because I would think that both the Fire and Gold colleges would like get along with military and stuff, but
even when magic is involved, it frequently has predictable and repeatable steps to it that are fairly scientific. Sure, it's magic making your scope see farther and your weapons hit harder, but it's magic that can be replicated in Nuln to the profit of both parties. And even if not, the Gold College needs guns to make magical guns out of, and those are coming out of Nuln. The army likes them too, because a weapon enhanced by a gold wizard is going to pack a hell of a punch. And even when they are using proper magic, this is still oftentimes in the most controlled ways possible. Gold wizards aren't necessarily trying to teleport or commune with the dead, although for reference, they can teleport if they so desire.
Whoa, I didn't expect that. They can TP? Damn. They didn't feel like, I don't know, they didn't feel like the house that could TP, but pop off, I guess.
You're making the bullet fly out of your gun a bit faster with more force, or making your armor magically tougher, or making sure your sword goes longer without rusting. Those are things that all level of the military can greatly appreciate. And at the least glamorous but perhaps most lucrative level, at least for an individual, nobles like fancy stuff. A sword that never chips or rusts is quite fancy. As such, gold wizards will oftentimes be found enchanting some magical item or other to sell to a noble for a high price. It's a nice bit of lore and quite logical. Science is expensive, and magical science even more so. And so
that also makes sense. Also, since they're the College of Metal, or like the Gold Wizards or whatever, you would expect them to be around a lot of wealthy wizards. You know what I mean?
So despite it being a bit demeaning, you won't find a gold wizard who hasn't at least once had a commission done for some stuck-up noble. If I was an artificer, I'd absolutely be making all sorts of random magical garbage to sell. I can respect the hustle. This has consequently made the Gold College one of the most well-liked and arguably the most tolerated magic college in the Empire. The Winds of Magic supplement outright says they are, but I would disagree with them being the most loved. I still think that's life. Granted, among nobles, I would have no problem saying the Gold College is the most loved. And even amongst the common man, I can see why they're tolerated more than other schools. Gold wizards need money, and so they work with nobles frequently to build them fancy stuff with to spend their money on. To make said fancy stuff, they need supplies, which requires them to on some level interact with the outside world, if only so resources are properly delivered. What's more, there's no paranoia over what these materials are for. They're for magical purpose and therefore dangerous, sure, but it's understandable stuff. If you ask a gold wizard what they're doing with all the stuff they buy, they aren't going to tell you it's for some mystical journey into the unknown that tempts the dark gods or some crap like that. They're going to tell you, I'm testing a new formula for making steel, or I am going to build a big bomb. Even at the most worrying, it's stuff you can understand. Or they'll just be arrogant and dismissive of you, which, while annoying, is a very human and relatable thing, making them seem less scary.
Yeah, this is fair. This is fair. It is Pancreas. Yes, yes, yes. Fun fact, Balthazar Gelt is almost certainly a mutant under his golden mask, and he definitely cheated to become the supreme patriarch of the colleges. Oh, so he's the supreme of all of them? Like, he's over everybody? Or just the gold one? Huh.
Still seem like a proper dickhead, but not like some unknowable freak. Their arrogance and wealth has led to them making some enemies, however. Plenty of Altdorf's revolutionary groups, most prominently one called Plant, but really they're all interchangeable, hates this college.
Oh, he's over everyone. Okay. Dang.
See them as the most prominent symbol of societal inequality and oppression, what with them covered in gold, flaunting their wealth, and aiding the nobles and oppressing them. How valid this view is, or how much of a tanky temper tantrum this may be in reality, is up to you to decide, but to be fair to the revolutionaries, they do have weapons made by the Gold College pointed at them quite often. Of course, that kind of thing usually happens during a riot, and Altdorfers like to riot like they're French, so I've got nothing. Everyone involved in this situation is probably an asshole. This is a Warhammer setting after all. They've also got tense relationships with the dwarfs. On the one hand, gold wizards and dwarfs can appreciate some fine craftsmanship, or the finest of crafts dwarfship, as it were, so there's common ground. On the other hand, gold wizards are still wizards and therefore practitioners of weird elf crap. On the third mutant hand, they're trying to cure with spiritual alkahest. Gold wizards think dwarfs may be fracted to common on a physical and spiritual level and are hiding that fact, while dwarfs think the gold order just wants their gold. And on the fourth hand, that's going to get the witch hunters called on you, there have absolutely been cases of gold wizards using that spell that temporarily turns lead into real gold, only for it to transmute back a few hours later on unsuspecting dwarfs.
Oh, they're cheats. They're schemazers. Balthazar is a genius, no joke. He's the representation of capitalism. Oh lord, that's a loaded representation right there.
I don't know about you, but that absolutely warrants an entry in the book to me. And those were the colleges of magic of the Empire of Man. Fantastical, mundane, and everything in between, the colleges of magic may be dangerous, but they're one of the greatest bastions against the threats the Empire faces. Say thank you to your local wizard. They may accidentally explode into a bloodthirster one day, but until then, they're doing their best to keep Sigmar's realms safe. Thank you as always to my wonderful channel members. You are the winds of magic to my colleges of magic, flowing through and giving me the power I need to do whatever nonsense I'm up to this week. If you'd like to support the channel, feel free to subscribe or become a member. Either way, thank you for watching and take care out there.
That was a cute little tie back to the video. Okay, well, what was my... So, let's see. The Celestial College, the Light College, the Shadow College. Those are definitely the three that most interested me. I don't know, something about them. The Light College and the Altruism. The Shadow College and like the mystery and how they're kind of like misunderstood introverts. If I had to narrow it down, like Light and Shadow are definitely my two favorite, I think. Yeah, let's swap screens. Light and Shadow, Light and Shadow. Check Thankwall? What do you mean? But yeah, that was the college the Colleges of Magic, which was pretty cool. You put some in Discord. Nice. I can't stick around on weeknights. So I know I used to stream like 3-4 hours on work nights, but I can't do that with my current schedule now since moving. So we can really only watch like one video at a time on weekdays. So that's gonna be it for me today. But I am still trying to watch 2 videos a week. Either both 40k or 140k and one fantasy / Age of Sigmar, because I really am interested in fantasy, but I feel like the lore of 40k is bigger, you know? Like it's wider. She's girthier. But yeah, so my plan for the rest of the week, because I know I never put out like an official schedule. To be honest, I just never had time to make one. And I was like, well, do I just make a schedule or do I just stream? I missed the end of video joke. I had it like
I've been in quite the magical mood lately.
It's restarted.
Alright, fuck, marry, kill Thyrus Gorman, Balthasar Gelt, and Elspeth von Draken. See, the marriage is the easy part. I'm marrying Gelt. I don't think he's very passionate in the bedroom, especially because there's non-zero odds the accident he was in turned him into gold. That's essentially just a fancy dildo. But while you may call me a gold digger for it, I'm set for life with Gelt. He's rich, powerful, influential. He is supreme. The other two are harder, though. Thyrus Gorman is not only a fire mage, but built like a goddamn freight train. The dude could probably rock your world. But Elspeth von Draken is a goth so goth, she's a death wizard. You just know she's a freak in the sheets.
I approve of that. Who would you guys? I feel like I agree, but I don't know enough about the other 2 wizards. Okay. But yeah, so I am going to hopefully do some miniature painting Saturday morning. So we're gonna do like a coffee and paint stream. And then on Sunday, I am in a club. Yeah. So you guys are gonna get me both weekends. Both days over the weekend. Wow, you guys are so lucky. You're welcome. You guys are so welcome. Okay. Let's do... Oh man, I'm tired. I slept so bad last night, so I'm really hoping I can sleep better tonight. It's been a struggle. It's been a struggle. We are blessed. Thank you. Thanks. I appreciate you. Okay, to be honest, guys, I'm just like really tired, so I'm not gonna bother rating anyone today. I just kind of need to like get off and get some food. But thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I hope you have a good night or day wherever you are. Please take care of yourself, drink plenty of water, and I will see you Saturday morning. I'll see you Saturday morning for a little like coffee and paint date. Sounds like a good time, right? Well, I don't even remember who I was painting, so we'll see how that turns out. Alright guys, have a good one, okay? Oyasumi mata ne. Bye guys! Wah!
Strong will end, a lot of ambition, can't do things like apparitions in terms of